Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back to day 3 of our training. I cannot believe I'm going to miss you guys so much when we're done. So, as we're getting started, you can tell me what would you do with an extra $100,000? That is what we're talking about today. How to make an extra $100,000. Whether you're in academics, whether you're in private practice, all settings, even if you're a fellow right now. What would that be like to make $100,000 this year? What would you even do with it? I have a lot of things I would do with. What would you even do with it? Okay. We also have the chat. I think we have fixed the chat issue. So check it out if you want to. You can go. Why is this? Is this going black for you guys? Mm-mm-mm. Hey, Instagram, you're with us too. Make sure if you have questions, just put it in the chat and I will keep an eye on Instagram as well. Just make sure it's not flashing for me. Is it flashing for you all? Hopefully, if it repeats itself, we'll know. Okay. Well, it's good for Susan. Okay, perfect. Good. I'm gonna give it a second. It is flashing for me. Let me see if I can get that to stop. All right. Gosh, I hope that works. I'm glad I didn't bother you or the recording. I have a senior dog and she is still flashing. Some wire has got to be loose. Let me try one more thing. The screen is just flashing. Can you check and see? I don't want to see it flashing all the time. Yeah, it's still flashing. Do you see that? The whole screen powers down. All right. All right. Screen sharing has stopped because okay. Let me try that one more time. This is how life works. This is real life. Zoom. Okay. Hopefully that's going to fix it. If not, I will take some drastic action. Hey, Anne-Marie. Hi, Cheatham. Dahlia, good to see you. Jill, Green, Sarah, Susan. Okay, let's get started. Some new names. Always good to see you all. Let's get started. Six-figure raise. So the 100K raise process is actually a little bit bigger than that. I always like to think about it. What about a six-figure? Think about it more like six-figure raise, five-figure bonus, 4-day work week. All of it is the same process. We've been talking about it, building up to it this week. If you saw day 1, how not to get fired, day 2, how to cut back your hours, what you're hearing today is the buildup of day 1 and 2. So make sure you've listened to day 1 and 2 so that you can get to this level of 100K raise. It predisposes you've done day 1 and 2. Very easy to do to achieve those first 2 steps. And this works even if you were the last hired. You're a current fellow, you're in a budget freeze, you're understaffed. You're going to see probably 20 different examples of people from private practice to community practice, newly hired to chairs, getting the same process. It works wherever you are. Sound good? And I have the chat open if you have any questions. What we're doing today, I'm going to show you the one mistake keeping you from your 100K raise. And then you're going to get 3 different ways to create a 100K raise this year. The doors are open to Next Level Freedom. We have a 72-hour bonus that ends tonight, and I'll walk you through available to answer any questions about that at the end. Okay, so about you, this is your first job. You have I'm in a couple of scenarios. Some of you, this is your first job, and you're really not sure how the money or the schedule works. Your plan is to accept this job as it is, just be so grateful to have this part of it over, right? Desperate to land the job. The idea of negotiations sounds terrible, which is good. I'm not going to teach you negotiations today. I'm going to teach you something way better. Or some of you are already in place at a job. You've been waiting for significant raise for years. You're making good money, but you would, of course, like to make more. And it just doesn't feel like the right time to ask. It's either something with this chair, or waiting until you're fully staffed, or hoping for this new chair to come in with a funding package. There's some amount of waiting for something. It just hasn't happened yet. Or you've already asked maybe 10 different times, and the answer's always been no. You might be thinking there's just no point of even trying. Nothing is changing here. Or maybe your boss is toxic and any ask you feel like might put you at risk. You might make you a target on the schedule. You could lose your office or your job. And some of you, as we talked about to many of you yesterday, are in the process of leaving your current job. And in the process of leaving, you're trying to structure this next job to be something you're excited for, but you're also very nervous. You don't have confidence about, could you possibly offend other people? Maybe what you're asking for isn't fair at all. Maybe you're being greedy or selfish. You definitely don't want people to be mad at you. Some of you can't leave this job. You just built your dream home. Your husband has a job in the area. You're a high earner, also a high spender. So there's not a lot of left at the end of the month. There's not a lot of a financial buffer in case there's a crisis. And so you're a little worried about how we're going to make this 100K raise work when you really need this job. What we all want, what we've been working on all week, is safety. Your job, making sure you're unfireable. So your job raise, bonus, salary, all of it's never at risk. To be paid fairly for the good work you're doing, to be supported and recognized, and to have that income increase every year, right? A schedule that lets you be there for your family, and then also a financial buffer. So if you need to be out for weeks, months, years, you can actually fund that without changing your day-to-day lifestyle. So the answer we've been working on all year is how to create, or all week, six-figure raises, five-figure bonuses, and four-day work week, any place in medicine. The foundation, day one, how to be unfireable. Yesterday, we talked about the part-time schedule, and today is the 100K raise. So I'll tell you a little bit about me. As I got to part-time hours at full doctor salary at three jobs, the skill I teach you, I've been teaching you this week, the skill I help people with is learning how to coach your chair into offering you a raise versus negotiating with them, asking, demanding ultimatums, I'm going to leave if. We want to stay away from that kind of negotiation language and make it more, how can we coach our chair to offer it for us? So this is a no negotiation zone, no games, no high risk conversations. Helped 1,000 women physicians towards the same goal. And here's a little bit of my story. When I first started, very early on, I talked to my director on the way to talking to the chair. And my director said, you can't ask for more money here. It's academics, right? It's never been done. There's no precedent for this. No one makes this kind of money. And that kind of sentiment is still told to a lot of people. And what happened with learning these skills, I had a very short conversation with the chair and created a record-breaking raise. And that's a tricky thing to do if your director just told you don't ask for more, and I created this thing. But what I did is I helped my director get a raise as well. And I raised the bar for everyone who came after me. So it wasn't that my group was mad at me for earning more, not at all. They were like, oh my gosh, she just got all of us a raise all at once. It helped the whole group enjoy being in the group more. It helped build relationships. So here's what I learned from that. What I want you to know is just because it's never been done before doesn't mean it's not possible. It just means you'll need to learn a new skill. My division director, she wasn't lying to me. She just didn't know how to coach her chair. She just didn't know. So of course she thought it was entirely impossible. She'd been trying to get a raise for years. It wasn't working. Of course, the thing that she would offer me is say, it's just not possible for you too, because she just didn't know. So if you want to get a result that's never been created, like a 100K raise, you just need a new skill. And that's what we're talking about today. So, okay, after that, right, I got every raise for everybody. Everyone's income went up so high. Didn't see this coming. Went up so high, the male fellow I trained got hired at a higher salary than mine. And how I knew is it was a state-funded organization, so everything was public. And a colleague, I didn't know that, but a colleague pointed it out. She's like, "You need to see this." So I was like, "Oh my gosh, no, I can't unsee this." And it made it very difficult. He had years less experience. He was showing me all his hard cases, so I was doing my work and a fair share of his, and he was getting paid more than me. I asked around, like, how do you negotiate? How do you move this forward? It's such a delicate issue. My mentor from another hospital said, well, you're married to a doctor. You really don't need the money, which is a terrible thing to say, but it's that generation. And, what she didn't know is he was married to a doctor, my fellow. She was an anesthesiologist. She was probably making more than both of us combined. Maybe like, whether he needs the money or not really isn't at all the issue. It's like, what is actually fair in the system is what I was after. When I asked my friends, they're like, you should never have looked. That information is not supposed to be looked at. Your chair is just going to be mad at you. And I think also that is very flawed thinking, because if it's not supposed to be looked at, it shouldn't be on a website. So I very carefully coached my chair, and I wound up getting a record-breaking a $100,000 raise. It went up so fast, the dean had to get involved to approve it. But I corrected the pay gap in a very quick way, in a very big way. And I was also like, and can you get my husband a raise too? Right. And we wound up, it was a fantastic relationship. This was not a blip on the system. This conversation helped us build a really good relationship. So I walked out with an even better relationship with the chair. So here's what I learned from that. Never go to sleep on your career. I kind of had gone to sleep on my career. I assumed that because I had this record-breaking salary, that I'd always be paid top pay. And that was definitely not the case. You want to be active in your career, making sure that it's an active process to be paid top dollar. So if you have a $100,000 raise, you're in medicine for 30 years, that's $3 million. A second $100,000 raise at year 5 times 25 years is $2.5 million. Total at retirement, that's a $5.5 million conversation, which took less than, really, I think it was less than a minute. I just said, I noticed he's being paid more. And she said, we're going to fix that right now. So it was a couple of sentences led to $5 million. If you invest a portion, not the whole base salary, nothing to do with my husband's salary, just a portion of that, that can add up to $19 million over time. With an ROI of coaching of this program, over 7,000, almost 8,000. $19 million for a couple of sentences, a couple of minutes. It's really worth it to be active in your career and knowing the process of creating 100K raises. The other piece of the story is for years in, I developed a neck injury that just took me out. I could not get out of bed. It was this really scary time. And what I noticed is, even though like any other profession, we would take a sick day for that, there was really no sick day. We were very understaffed. And so the work just kind of shuffled around. Instead of having 2 weeks out for sick time, it was like, okay, we'll clear your schedule. When you come back, you'll just make up for it then. There was just no such thing as sick time. And it really taught me, even though we live in the hospital, we just can't get sick. Our spouse can't lose their job. Our kids can't have a diagnosis. We can't get injured. And so here's where I learned we need to be paid top dollar. There's just too much at stake. We need to be paid at the top end of what's possible for us. A million reasons why we need to be at part-time hours and full pay at the very beginning of our career as soon as possible, because it's time we just don't get back. So the problem that most people have as they approach the 100K raise is thinking that it's optional. It would be nice to have. Sounds like this thing that I would love to have, but I don't need it. What I really want you to see is your 100K raise is required. Like, don't even let your brain tell you it would be nice to have. Be thinking, I actually am required to have this raise so that I can fund my family if there's an emergency, if I need to take time off, if I have an injury, if my spouse goes out of work. So what gets in the way? Why are people having problems with this? Is usually this kind of flavor. And we saw this in the last 2 days in the chat is, well, we're having budget cuts. I got an email that this is not a good time. I want you to keep in mind what the hospitals don't talk about is that all hospitals have millions in reserve. They have, if it's a smaller hospital, $10 million. If it's a larger center, it could be 10 billion with a B dollars. They're required to have millions and billions in reserves in case there's a crisis, a pandemic, they're getting sued. They have to have this backup of funds. So it's all there. And because they're a business interested in making profit, or they have to be budget conscious, they're also going to have budget cuts. So those two things, both things can be true at once. They have millions in reserve, and they're always interested in reducing costs. That's just good business sense. So don't consider it as this is why I shouldn't ask. No, this is probably why you should ask. Because keeping you, the average woman physician makes $100 million over their career for their hospital. Keeping you is a really good ROI for them. It's a really good investment. Having you there helps make hundreds of millions of dollars over your career. It's such a good investment. All right, some of you have written me or wrote me on Instagram and said, boss does not negotiate. He just doesn't. And for that, I just want to say this isn't negotiations. Coaching your boss is just a skill you haven't been taught before. It's totally different. It doesn't matter if your boss doesn't negotiate, totally fine. I got some people wrote me on Instagram, but what if it's academics? I'm told academics doesn't negotiate. I want you to consider the source. The people who tell you that are usually people in academics who don't want you to ask anything, right? That's sort of their leadership. They're not a bad person. They're just wanting to get through their day. And if you bring up negotiations, it's more work for them. So there is, or they never negotiated, like my division director. She didn't know it was possible. So consider the source. It's just a leadership tactic, maneuver. It doesn't have to be true for you. And every center, even academics, can make adjustments to any piece of the contract. None of it is set in stone. Everything is a line item that can be adjusted. Well, what I'll say after coaching 1,000 women physicians, the biggest wins I've seen are actually in academics. And it's for a couple of reasons. I think one is because people go into academics expecting to be broke, like almost expecting to break. This thought that academics doesn't pay well is so people's really seeped into their cells. And so there's not a lot of people asking. So when you do ask, the wins can be big because you're an N of one who's asking. But also because academics, why RVUs are very important, they're not dependent on to keep the lights on because there's multiple streams of funding. There's a more flexible structure. So these are some examples. We'll talk about some of these today of bonuses that I've seen help people create in academics. $1.2 million for housing contributions, almost $500,000 in your children's college fund being paid, $250,000 bonus, no call. They can hire the spouse, so millions of dollars come to you through hiring the spouse. 1 to 3 weeks off service a month, summers off, December off, 12 months off, paid, higher salary than the chair. It's like, what is even going on? Right. And it's because if you know how to coach your chair, there's a ridiculous amount of resources in medicine, especially in academics. So don't believe anyone who tells you it's not true. They just don't know how to ask. We saw this yesterday. They're going to think I'm greedy. I might lose the job. Not how we teach it. Coaching your boss is a relationship building tool. So it'll improve your relationships. The last time I tried, I failed. You have never tried this way. So just try something new. Someone said yesterday, I have zero confidence. I feel so nervous about it. So, of course, coaching can help you feel confident, but I always like to say whatever confidence you have is all that you need. Consider you don't even really need confidence. They have done studies about who in partnerships, what is the most winning success. It's not fake caveman confidence. It's a more collaborative energy, which women physicians are really good at. It's this idea I want to come to your center, do really good work, be paid well, and make more money for everybody. It's this kind of collaboration, wanting everyone to win, not just us. We want everyone to win. It actually is the best energy you can bring into negotiations. And if you're thinking this economy, this boss, there's a war going on, instead of letting the economy and the boss scare you into being underpaid, use it as a wake up call to say, ooh, I want to have financial security now. And just the next economy, the next boss could be worse. So, how great it is to get this all under control now. Okay, so let's look at the strategies. Strategy one is how to get the yes without jeopardizing your physician contract. The first piece is to talk to the right person. The right person is the person who can make the decisions, what I call the decision maker. And where I see women physicians go wrong, it's very easy to go here, is talking to non-decision makers. And these are the admin who sends a contract, future coworkers who don't want you to make more than them, current coworkers who don't want you to leave and make more, your current boss who doesn't want you to have to match a bigger deal or see you make more money elsewhere that she has to then match. Loved ones who are just nervous that you're not going to have a job, who beg you to accept the first offer. And be grateful. Don't ask for anything. All of these people are not the decision maker. They're lovely people. We love them, right? But they can't actually say yes. So we'll just take the admin for a second. The admin is actually, she cannot say yes. She's not authorized to say yes, as lovely as she is. She's generally tasked to say no. She's generally telling the chair tells her, my day is busy. If you get any questions, the answer is no, don't send them my way, right? She's that first line of defense. But I see a lot of women physicians want to share with the admin because they think that's a safe space. She's a nice person. Surely she won't tell. She will absolutely forward that to the boss. That's part of her job is to manage these communications. So just consider that that's not a private space for you. It's so easy for the boss to tell the admin no, to tell you no. Versus if you show up and coach the boss, it's so much easier to get your yes. So the idea is don't ask people who can't say yes. It's not a good use of your time. Talk to the decision makers instead. How do you find them? It's the person who's going to sign the offer letter. So who would the admin ask? That's the person you want to be talking to. So what do you do if the admin says, please sign and return 24 hours? We need this back. It's a legal document. You're getting a lot of pressure from the admin, of course. I want you to consider they really want you to be there. That's good news, right? That's good news. They're very interested. And the admin is checking a box. So it's not personal. She's not trying to bully you or make you feel terrible or pressure you. She's literally just going through her day. What are the tasks she needs to do? Stay anchored to your goal. And then here's the script you can email back to her. Thank you for sharing. I'm excited to move this forward. I have a few questions I'm going to be directing to the chair. I'll be in touch very soon, right anytime. Simple, right? So simple. Okay, so one is find the right person. Two is say the right thing. Saying the right thing is the irresistible ask process. I'm going to teach you this process. It has your boss excited to say yes to you. It positions you as a leader. It just makes so much sense to them. They're like, of course I want to pay her $100,000, right? It helps everyone. It puts your chair in your promotion coalition, just referencing back to day one. It has you and your chair aligned so that your chair is looking for ways to help protect and prioritize you. So here's the process. One is to figure out what their $1 million need is. And if you're talking to a hospital, it's going to have something to do with money, retention, billing, stability, less HR complaints. It's going to have something to do with that. Of course, you don't want to be that general. You want to custom because that could be any hospital. You want to customize it to the exact person you're talking to. And how you'll do that is you'll look at the job description, read what are they looking for? Why are they looking for this? As you go through your day and you're meeting with different people, you're going to want to ask them what is your biggest pressing problem? What are you working on for the next year? You will be very informed so you can customize this to your chair at the end of the day. You can say their $1 million need better than they even know it. That will captivate their attention. Two is you want to show how you can meet that $1 million need better, faster, bigger than they imagined. This is not a bunch of lies and inflation. Of course, you're going to speak to your honest skill sets, but that's what you want to be thinking is what can you bring to the table to solve it? I'll give you a few examples of this. And now that you have their attention and they really want you to come there, you're going to say, and here's what I need to be successful. That's your ask. That's your 100K raise or your 4-day work week. Insert whatever that priority is. The silence is really important. That's where you can lean back in your chair and let them have a moment to digest it. And then 5, the follow-up, get it in writing. And we saw this play out yesterday when we were coaching Megan, is that, and I'll talk about the silence, but the follow-up where I see a lot of women physicians really struggles, will say, but I need it in writing. She won't write me back. We put all the pressure on the chair to put this in writing as if the chair's document is legal and ours is not. In coaching your chairs, you as the interviewee get to lead this. So instead of being stressed the chair hasn't written it, what we do is you write the follow-up email. So glad to meet with you. I'm looking forward to moving this forward. Here are the 3 items we discussed. Let me know next steps. It's in writing, and that's just as official as if the chair had written it. And you will feel so much safer knowing that you're so much more grounded, knowing that it is in writing. You're not waiting for anyone. So let me give you a couple of examples, 2 examples of what the irresistible ask process looks like. If you have questions, I have the chat box open so you can add that there. Okay. So one, this is a very clinical role. I understand the need to replace. You have three departed physicians, very busy clinical staff, a lot of high acuity oncology patients plus consults. Number two, I can be here in 90 days. I've been in service 5 years. I am the top RVU generator for my group. This will be seamless for me to come here. And I also want to say, I can help you fill these spots. I went to medical training in the area. I know people who would love to be here. You could be fully staffed in 90 days. That's what I mean by bigger. Think bigger than your chair, solve bigger problems, and you become the priority for the 100K raise. Then now we do part three, what I need to have this done fast and seamlessly, what I'm looking for at this stage of my career with where my family is Fridays off. I am coming with you for 5 years of experience, and I'm going to help you fill these spots. So if we could credit that towards the early promotion with the 100K raise now and the 50K signing bonus for the move, that would make this really easy to move this forward for me and my family. And you stay silent, and then you write this in a follow-up email. It is that simple. That is how big deals are done. Like pro athlete money starts with this kind of conversation. I'll give you another example is, okay, let's say start with part one. I understand you need a medical director in the next 90 days. I've been a medical director for 5 years. I can be here next month. With my current group, I've saved them $2 million in increased billing with bringing on Epic scripts, with a retention of the group. We've gone through the catalog of tests. We've been able to reduce those down. Within 12 months, I've saved the group $2 million. We definitely can do that here. Here's the infrastructure I need to make this a seamless transition. I would need 2 admin days a week, early partnership, the 100K raise ahead of time to kind of credit all this work that we're going to do, the 100K signing bonus, silence. Follow-up email. If it's not a big deal in your mind, here's the big coaching piece, mindset-wise. If it's not a big deal in your mind, it won't be a big deal in their ears. But you really have to believe that. And you can if you've saved the last hospital $2 million. These are all real stories. $2 million, your 100K raise is paid for when you can do that for them too. I find of all these pieces, the silence is where many women physicians will kind of collapse the conversation. That silence is worth millions. It really is golden, and it can be a beautiful way to, it's required to get to this 100K raise. But what happens is during this silence, like we saw on yesterday's call, is where our brain can start panicking. And usually it sounds like this. I screwed up. It's a no. They hate me. Why did I ask? Oh my gosh, I'm offending them. I'm blowing up my career. So when we are thinking all these thoughts in the silence, or like we heard yesterday, his face is blank. His brows are furrowed. He appears to be mad. He appears not to want to help me. We have all those thoughts. We panic. We don't allow the silence to be there. And I've seen so many women physicians before they come coaching with me, they're like, oh, I apologized immediately. He said, just forget it. I'll take the original salary. Right? We want to be not in a place of panic. So try this instead. In the couple of seconds of silence that will follow, and it won't be a lot, it'll probably be 5 seconds. It'll feel like a lot. But so this is what you tell yourself. The silence means he's actually considering it. If he's quiet and he's looking off and he's thinking in his browser, he's like, where am I going to get the money? Who do I need to ask? This is an interesting idea. I haven't considered this before. He's actually, that's what people look like when they're thinking. They look blank. They're not mad. They're like, how can I make this work? So I want you to be thinking, he's considering this. Such a good deal for all of us. It's actually happening. I just have to be quiet. So an example of how this works, 40K, I made $40,000 my first job in about 8 seconds. Today would be $100,000 because now I know more. But here's what it looked like. My chair gave me the salary offer. I used the impossible ask process, and then I sat myself down. And this is really important. This will help you is push yourself back in your chair. Like make yourself lean back. I was silent for 4 seconds. In that 4 seconds, he kind of knitted his brows. He got blank. He looked off and he leaned back into me. He told me, yes, we'll do that. I stayed leaning back because just leaning back kind of calms me. I stayed leaning back. And I didn't jump in and say, oh my gosh, thank you, amazing. I can't wait to come here. I just stepped back for just a couple of seconds, 4 more seconds. And he leaned in again. I had said nothing. I'm going to give you another raise. And he went up like 3 times within 8 seconds, wound up being $40,000. $40,000 times 30 years is $1.2 million. You invest some of it, that's $4.5 million. Whereas a return on the coaching investment, let's just say would be 1,800. I want you to just focus on 8 seconds, created $4.5 million. 8 seconds, created $4.5 million. That's the power of the silence is golden. So you want to make sure that when there's silence, in those moments, you're telling yourself, this is working out. Nothing's gone wrong. We're getting closer to the yes. All right. Let me see. Let's see. Chat, I'm here, chat. Okay. Okay. Megan said, thank you for the coaching yesterday. I called her back and she didn't answer and hasn't called back. Not sure how to feel. Okay, I'll tell you how to feel, Megan. All right. We're gonna do this. This is for you. Is it in this time? Here, I'm just gonna go back. Here's what you screenshot this. The silence means she's considering this. This is actually happening. This is a good for all of us. Like you practice those thoughts. What I'll tell you from a career coaching point of view, she's having meetings with people. She's saying, hey, listen, I really want Megan. Here's the only thing she's asked for. This is really simple. Help me make this happen. The silence is a good thing. You don't want her to call you. You don't want to hang up with a call and her call you back in 5 seconds because that means it's a no, or it means she has taken zero time to investigate. So I want you to look at, we want the silence here. We want the silence here because she's working to make it happen. What do you think? How does it feel? Nothing has gone wrong. It's happening. She's looking into it. Okay, let's see. Yes, Amanda, thank you for telling me about the Q&A. It sits right behind my phone, and so I can never see it. But I'm opening the Q&A. The Q&A, by the way, for everyone goes just to me. Okay, but you posted it. I'm gonna look in the chat since you may put more here. Oh, academics is facing a real crisis where people are leaving in droves due to hiring freezes, increased workload, and poor staffing. How does negotiation work in today's academia when current faculty are facing so much stonewalling? At what point do you give up and move on to another job when you try everything and keep hearing no? Okay, these are really good questions, Amanda. We're going to talk about all of it today. Let me give you some right now. I would say this is how I would look at it. Yes, people are leaving. It's so interesting when I look at think about this for you too. The people I know who are leaving for lots more money. So they're not leaving to fall off the end of the planet. They're leaving because they found a better situation. Good for them, right? Like this is not a bad case. They're coaching their new boss into creating a lot more value. Of course they're leaving. If you want to stay in academics, this doesn't have to be a bad thing for you. You can leverage this in your conversations moving forward. That means retaining you becomes a critical thing for them. So what I help people do, I have seen this happen where a group of five people essentially left overnight. Like they all were together. So there's one person standing. That's happened to me. I was in a group of six and three people left pretty much overnight. And what I've helped people do in those cases is there's a kind of short-term, intermediate, long-term fix. And short-term fix is to coach your chair into a retention package. I am staying, I am loyal, I'm absorbing a lot more work. In this temporary time, can my pay be adjusted since I'm doing 3 times the work? Can we look at a 100K raise? Can we look at and insert whatever that number is for you? So I would say use everything to your advantage. If you're trying to stay in academics, use these external pressures to make your situation better if you want to stay. That's a big if. In terms of this is one of the scenarios I brought in. If you've done everything and they still keep hearing no, listen to today's talk because coaching your chair is probably most people, unless you're in my world, you've never done this. Consider this is a thing you might not have tried before. But if you have, or if you're like, I don't even want to try coaching my chair, I just want out. Well, then we have a whole set of other circumstances. Is where could we explore? And I'm going to talk about that in strategy 3. Where could we explore? What would other options look like? Especially now, like being able to interview for jobs, you could do that over Zoom over lunch. It wouldn't take a lot of time. You really could create a $1 million exit strategy going somewhere else without having to travel or let anyone know. If you want just to kind of compare what's out there or use it as a counter offer. Stonewalling happens. I love this, Amanda. We're going to talk about this today too. Stonewalling happens when we ask the same person the same exact way over and over again. We'll get stonewalled. I'm going to talk about the psychology behind that. So the answer is ask a different person, ask a different way, bring in something new, which may be a counter offer. all of that has risks, all that has benefits, and we'll be addressing that. What do you think, Amanda? Good for now? If not, keep writing. You're right. You're asking all the right questions. All right. So let me tell you about Marianne. She was looking for a first job, had to be California. Husband was already living in California. Family was in the area. Hold on. That is not where I meant to go. Let's see. You have to hear about Marianne. All right. Make sure that worked. Where is that? Okay. Yeah, that's good. All right. So Marianne, so it had to be California. And she was told, California's impossible. Expect a terrible salary. You can't negotiate. It's academics, it's boilerplate. Accept the first job. Don't be grateful. Just ask for anything. Try to get near California. Try to go for Nevada or Arizona, right? So you have short commutes. Terrible advice. She did receive an offer from her dream city because she's exceptional. Of course, anyone would want to hire her, but it was a terrible salary. It would really make it hard to make the ends meet. And she didn't want to start a new job already needing a second job. She didn't want to have to fund her lifestyle with urgent care shifts. The admin wrote her sign and return 24 hours. She felt an incredible amount of pressure, but the admin was really nice. So she asked the admin if she could discuss the salary, and the admin said, "Oh no, this is standard. It's academics. We don't negotiate. Just sign it, return it. We're done." Right? So she called me and I gave her this process I'm giving you. She went back and spoke directly with the chair. So she didn't talk to the admin. She used the irresistible process on her chair. And wouldn't you know it, she got a 100K raise in academics in California in a place that apparently never gave raises before. Right? In quotes. I say quotes facetiously because I want you, anytime someone tells you you can't have, and anytime someone tries to stonewall you, I want you to see air quotes. Okay. Um, this is just how we're going to work around these data points because she's such a great example of that. 100K raise over 30 years, $3 million. Second 100K raise over 25 more years, $2.5 million. The math as it comes down to is that 10-minute conversation with the chair amounted to $18.6 million. It's a lot of money. Being able to coach your chair is such an essential skill, especially if you want to be in medicine long term, especially if you're in academics. So before you know this process of how to get the 100K raise without jeopardizing your job, you're thinking budget cuts, no raises, hiring freezes, everyone's leaving, and you believe them that there's no option here. But what I always say is look at the CEOs, look at the C-suite. Are they making millions of dollars like with their salary and their bonuses? They are. It means there's money somewhere. If there's money somewhere, there's a path forward for me. You tell yourself, this is good enough money. You can make it do. Asking for more is greedy. Your job's on the line. You cut back. You do without. You're budgeting, trying to make the salary go further longer. You find yourself funding vacations with urgent care shifts. You're one financial, possibly one, two, three paychecks away from financial crisis. There's just no buffer here. You need this W-2 job. Your family depends on it. You're tied to medicine. You have to work. Afterwards, when you see the email, budget cuts, no raises, you know better. Of course, they're always going to be looking for budget cuts. And also, they have a surplus of funds. You just have to know how to access them. And their irresistible ask process is that way. To get your 100K raise, your 4-day work week, you're so much more grateful. The job is stable. You're not always looking for a job, looking to leave when you're being paid well and the schedule makes sense. You don't have to cut back, no budgeting, no extra urgent care shifts. Your 100K raise as you saw, can fund a multi-million-dollar portfolio. Your money can make money in your sleep. You can live off the returns. There's a buffer so you can handle a crisis if you need to be out for weeks, months, or years. You are in the W-2 job as long as you want to, and you're there because you love it. You like the work, the teaching, the education, the patient care, but you can leave and you can fund your lifestyle if you need to leave, if you want to leave. Okay, let's do strategy 2. How to guarantee your 6-figure raise, 5-figure bonus, and 4-day work week. This is really simple, but it's fantastic, and it will work for you too. Amanda, you too. I'll give you some examples. You really only need 2 skills to guarantee your 100K raise, wherever you are. And it's to be creative and to not give up. What blocks most physicians is we make no meaning no forever, and something is at risk. And when we feel like we might not get what we want, it's very easy just to shut ourselves down, not ask, not get, and then we have the no, and we gave it to ourselves. So here's what I want you to reimagine what a no means. It's not permanent. Nothing's at risk. Coaching your chair will strengthen your relationships. It's just data. It's going to give you some data, and especially if you can coach your chair, ask some questions, which is like, what can you tell me more about this no? What time frame is this no? Is there any version of this I could try? Is there any contingencies I can put on where we could try this for a trial period, right? Those are examples of how to coach your chair. We're continuing the conversation to get data of what's happening so we can reposition and have an elevated ask. And in that way, a no can actually bring you closer to a yes. A no gives you data that gets you closer to your yes. So here are a couple examples of what it looks like to not be creative and give up. And our brain will want to go here. So look out for it. Look out for it. And then I'll give you some ideas to turn it into getting exactly what you want. Okay, so no creativity, giving up would look like this. I asked once, I was told no. My boss will never support me. I shouldn't have asked. I'm such an idiot. I'm just gonna volunteer immediately for every open shift. I'm gonna try to make up for it, prove I'm a team player through working more hours. Being creative and never giving up looks like this. I'm gonna ask twice. I'm just gonna ask one more time. It's so much easier just to ask twice. So meet Sonia. She is in a practice, latest hire. Everyone else is an older white man, stay-at-home wives, fully grown children. She has small toddlers at home. Her husband was out of work and he was taking care of the baby, and they loved that setup. They didn't need a nanny, they didn't want one, but she really could use some less financial pressure being the breadwinner, and she wanted to be home more. The group needed a medical director for a new clinic they were opening, and none of the men wanted to do it. They thought that was a headache. She really wanted the role. She loves leadership. She's very good at it. So she used the irresistible ask process to tie all this together, to ask for the title, a $40,000 raise, and Fridays off. And initially, I think she asked the nurse practice manager, and he said no. She was devastated. I told her, ask one more time. Right. And also, let's ask the person who can make the decision, which is not the nurse manager. And she got the yes. So she's making $40,000 more every year. She's off Friday. She loves this titled position. It's protected her, offered, like if you think back to Monday or Tuesday, become unfireables, giving her this protection, being prioritized, protected. For a breadwinner, this money matters. It set her up for early promotion. The team loves her that she's taken over this role. No pressure on her husband to ever return to work. What a huge deal. So the math is $40,000 times 30 years. That's $1.2 million. We're not even looking at her base salary. If she were to invest the $40,000 in 30 years, that turns into $4.5 million. So ROI on coaching is 906. That conversation, she did have to do it twice, but it was 10 minutes each. It's a $4.5 million conversation. So ask twice. It's okay. We can ask twice, right? If what you want, I want you to think that, have that thought. I just have to ask twice to get exactly what I want. Could I ask twice to get exactly what I want? Okay. Whoa. Tech is doing something. All right, that should be good. 2-minute conversations created over $4 million. So worth asking one more time. All right, no creativity, giving up looks like this. I've asked my boss 8 times. It's always a no. It'll always be a no. Being creative, never giving up looks like this. I'm going to come up with 10 different ways. And Amanda, this may help you. I'm going to come up with 10 different ways to get the result. I don't stop until it's mine. I'm just not going to give up until I get there. Sometimes we get so attached, and I did this too. I have to have it through my salary. My boss has to say yes. And that is one way. But what are 9 other ways I can get that same income to my family? What are 9 other ways to make that happen? I don't give up until I get it. If you're in a habit of your boss always saying no, we had this Amanda, I think Liz said this yesterday. We had several people comment on it. I want to give you some strategies how you can lead those conversations when your boss is in a habit of always saying no. You have to know the psychology behind this is once a person has said no, it's very easy for them to say no forever. They've kind of developed this track in their mind. This ask is a no. So the best thing you can do is make your ask new. Bring in a new angle, new data. So this is where I was saying, ask questions. What is behind this no? What exactly are the factors that the chair is drawing on? Let me bring in new data. Make your ask sound different. Other ways you can do this is bring it to a new person, bring in a new idea, make your ask sound different. Okay, strategy 2, provide solutions. So chairs are they have a million fires, right? People are leaving in droves, fact, right? So if they're having to make a lot of decisions really quickly. So if you come in and are like, I need to be paid my worth, and you have no solutions there, it is very easy to be told no and be labeled the problem difficult faculty. Instead, provide solutions. So make it easier for your boss to say yes to this. Become a problem solver. Like show them like, here's how we can do it. And I did that in the irresistible ask process. Save 2 million here. Here's what I'm looking for to move forward. Just spell it out, write it out if you have to, make it easier for them to say yes. Solve the problem for them. Strategy 3 is how else can you get the yes? Sometimes, and we saw this when we were talking to other people during the week, they were asking their division director, who always said no. He might not be the person to talk to. We may need to go to the decision maker, the chair. Brainstorm 10 different ways you can get the same result. Who else can you ask? How else is this possible? And strategy 4 is what could they say no to? We'll talk about this in a moment, but hospitals have a ceiling. And I think I don't remember who it was, but someone was kind of explaining this yesterday that she was just bumping up against a ceiling. Even though she was doing all the work, there was just nothing they were going to do about her schedule or salary. This is all a sign that she just hit the ceiling. And that is very common to find what you want to do in that situation. One thing you can do is what else could they say yes to? So maybe they can't say yes to a 4-day schedule, 4-day-a-week schedule. Maybe they can't say yes to 100K, but what else could they put together that leads me closer to a more sustainable work schedule? So here's some examples my clients have come up with. No more ICU days, or no more clinic days, or no more call, or a top admin so that your day goes faster, an AI scribe so your work gets done faster, school breaks, holidays off, titles, research money, early promotion, all of that tying into the 6-figure raise, 5-figure bonus, and 4-day work week. So here's an example of Nicole, breadwinner, senior partner in a busy private practice. She's the RVU generator queen. She's held a leadership role for years. She's exceptional in this role. She really enjoys it. They love that she's in this role where she keeps the whole practice profitable. But it's a fair amount of responsibility. She has to know the numbers, budgeting, there's endless meetings, Excel, all the things. And it is what keeps everyone paid. But she wasn't being paid for this role. Her practice was merging with a larger group, and that usually is a time, and her practice was no exception, where the partners were like, let's cut back the budgets. Let's show how profitable we are. We just need to be taken over and acquired. This is not the time to ask for anything. But our philosophy, Next Level Freedom, is mergers are the best time to ask for something. That's where you really can call in these 6-figure raises and 4-day work weeks overnight. So we decided that this would be the time to ask. Her goal is she would like to make $100,000 more this year. We did 1 day of voice messaging coaching. She didn't feel comfortable asking for more than 34,000. And so in 1 day of coaching, she got the $34,000 raise. Her husband got a raise. She had Airbnb booking. Like, look at her being creative. She said, the 100K raise is what I want. Let me find all the ways I can get there. And in 24 hours, she made $44,000. That's phenomenal. She's definitely going to get to 100K this year because she's going to be creative and she's not going to give up. She's not going to put everything on one conversation, her base salary with her chair. She's going to find ways to make the puzzle bigger. And 34,000 over 15 years is $510,000. That is not nothing. She invests it, that turns into $1 million. The ROI on coaching was 434. A 10-minute conversation led to over $1 million. There's a lot of money there in private practice or in academics. If you're open to being creative, you don't give up. Now, let me talk about Monica. So Nicole's from private practice. I want to give you an example of academics. Monica is a senior leader wanting to move back to home to California. I'm from California, so it might seem biased to California, but I'm here in California, so I attract a lot of California clients. She negotiated for the top pay at the center. They were not going to be able to pay her anymore, or she'd be making more than the chair, right? So there's a limit to how much you're going to pay. Their hospital will pay you, even if you're exceptional at your job. You're not going to be able to go over the chair. So whether your chair made a good deal or not, or whether your chair wasn't able to create a great deal, you're limited by whatever your chair is making. And it wasn't enough to buy a house. It wasn't enough to put her three kids through college. She had her kids when she was in med school, never had time to put away money for them. And this pay definitely was not going to close the gap. She has a stay-at-home husband, and she doesn't want her husband to have to go to work. Her husband stays home with the kids and homeschools them. So we got creative. We didn't give up. We asked these prompts. These are the questions I want you to be asking Amanda and Liz and Megan. What else could they say yes to? How else could we make this work? Let's get really creative. Put your contingencies into the conversation. Of course, this has to be high. We have to have a package that allows her to buy a house. Of course, husband is staying home. It is not an option for him to be going back to work. Of course, all kids need to have college funded. Like we just put that front and center and everything else has to fall around it. So here's what happened. She created a $400,000 base salary. Not enough in California to buy a house. If you're from California, you know. If you know, you know. But we got creative. Okay, well, yes, we can't go over above the chair salary, but where else could we make up the difference? $150,000 in bonuses, $50,000 entitled stipends every single year she's there. Work from home 50% of the year. So she has that convenience of being able to be with her family more. She has the convenience of having a full-time salary, part-time hours. 2 call nights a month means she's going to sleep in her bed almost every night of the year. That makes a difference for a breadwinner. They're going to contribute over $1 million, exactly $1,200,000 towards a house. They're going to set up college funds for each of her kids, any college. Don't believe academics that there's no money. Amanda, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to all of y'all. Don't believe there's no money. You just have to be creative. You have to expand who you're talking to and where can you collect the yeses. Do not give up and you get there. So this is a lot of money. A base salary $400,000 times 20 years, $8 million. Total stipends $50,000 a year for these titled stipends that are going to come every year, $1 million. Let's assume this bonus just pays out 1 year. We know that's not true, but let's assume that she never gets any more bonuses ever again. Housing contribution is $1.2 million. College fund times 3 is $40,000 a year, times 4 years, times 3 kids is $480,000. Total funding package is almost $11 million. So coaching investment on that was 4,332x. That conversation, how long did it take? A couple of hours on Zoom over a couple of weeks. Was it almost $11 million conversation? And notice she didn't say $400,000. I can't ever make this work and never buy a house. No. It was like, let's lean in and let's find all the different ways we get this house. If she decided, she's a very smart cookie, and she decides to invest a portion of this money, that all of a sudden that will turn into $4,576,196. So her total funding package is actually 15 million. The ROI on coaching is 6,616. Couple of hours on Zoom led to a $15.4 million coaching funding package. If you're creative and you don't give up, this is available for you too. If you're creative and you don't give up, you are getting your 6-figure raise, your 5-figure bonus, and 40 work week. You just cannot give up on yourself. And I think this is the power of being in a coaching container is we just will not let you give up on yourself. We will say, Megan, get on the phone. They're going to say yes to you, right? We're going to help you go until you get it. Okay, so before you know the strategy, you can ask because your job's already at stake. Your family needs a savings buffer. The hospital said they're in financial hardship. This is not the right time. So you continue in financial hardship. If you ask once, you get a no. You hate yourself for asking. You hate your boss for saying no. You've asked your boss 4 times. It's always a no. Why even bother? Might as well stop asking. You haven't had a raise the entire 5 years you've been there because they're always understaffed. You started this job making less than your colleagues. You assumed it would catch up with experience, but the wage gap just gets bigger. On day 1, we taught you how to become unfireable, which means you can ask anytime. Nothing's at risk. You know how to coach your boss. Your family needs a savings buffer. Your hospital needs you. Keeping you at a higher pay is win-win-win. Actually, nothing's at risk. So you ask and you get. Sometimes you may get a no at some point, and you just tell yourself, I just have to ask one more time. And when you ask twice, like Sonia, you get the yes. Worth it. Or if you're in the scenario, you've asked 4 times and it's always been a no, you're going to try something new. You're going to try coaching your boss. You're going to try bringing in new data. You're going to try 10 different ways to get that same thing. Instead of relying just on the base salary and just on the chair, we're going to expand the scope of what's possible. And when you do that, you can make up for a 5-year raise drought in one conversation. You can close that wage gap you've been carrying since day one because you know how to coach your boss. So let's end with strategy 3, pro athlete money. And this, Amanda, is something to consider, as well as Liz. I think we talked yesterday. I think also consider anyone who's in the position I've been stonewalled for a long time. This is something to consider. Can be a very effective. It's also a risky process, but I'll say how we do it. I think we eliminate the risk, but let me lay it out for you. Okay. Oh, Q&A. Q&A. You feel free to drop questions anytime in the chat or the Q&A. Sometimes I don't see the Q&A. It's kind of hidden in my screen. So if I miss your question, just put it in there again for me. Okay, is negotiation strategy and outcome similar in industry compared to academics and private practice? Is there anything you need to consider when trying to negotiate in a more corporate industry setting? And honest attendee, it's all the same. If you follow that irresistible ask process, you do want to customize it for the person you're talking to. Whoever's wallet is opening, they need to be very confident you understand their business model and that you can close the gaps for them in terms of millions of dollars. So there is some homework on your end to do, but that's the best homework because it always pays off. Like these conversations, 10 minutes, $4.5 million. When you're able to lock in, what does this key stakeholder need and want? How can I show them bigger, better, faster? All ethically, of course, right? These are all things you've actually done. You can make that a very easy sale and position. So it's the exact same thing. And the examples we're looking at today are just to show you a spectrum of practice settings, but it's all the same process. Isn't that great? What if you're paid hourly and they tell us that the whole group is paid the same? Okay, so first I want you to keep anonymous attendee that I want you just to keep the possibility that that's not true. Just keep the possibility that you don't quite know. You just don't know unless you see the bank statements. You don't quite know because as if you believe that everyone's paid the same and nothing can change, how does that feel? Right? It closes you down. It shuts you off. It's like, why even try? So just keep the possibility that, and how I would think about it is it's possible for all of us to make more money. Like we could keep the model. Everyone is paid hourly. We all make the same amount. Okay, let's all make more. And that was the first example I gave you at the very beginning, how I got a raise for myself, my division director, and the others. So keep that possibility. The other is this third strategy I'm going to teach you about competing job offers can be something that you may want to consider in that it gives you another option, but also it gives you another lever to pull, and also it gives you another option, like in terms of you may want to leave. If they're very committed to everyone has to make the same number of hours and everyone needs, and no one can be paid different, and you want to be paid more, it might not be your forever job. Like you may want to consider that. Also, there's just so many loopholes in what you said. I've helped so many people with this. There's so many loopholes. And here's an example of a loophole. Okay, let's assume they're telling they're being honest, which I really do believe hospitals around this are not honest. But let's just go ahead and pretend that they are. Yeah, they may all make the same base salary, but they're able to fund bonuses and filter money in different capacities. So you saw that example. If they put $1.2 million towards buying a house, they put $480,000 towards college funds. Like, where is that on this hourly rate? It's nowhere there because hospitals are very good at shielding where this money goes, which is not a bad thing. It means I want you to leave the possibility that what you want is possible. You just have to know how to ask and who to ask it to, right? All right. Very good. So let's do it. Let's do some competing offer strategies. If you have questions, definitely pop them in Q&A or chat. I'm happy to ask them. These have been really good questions. So leveraging competing offers is a way to get these unprecedented. It's a way to unblock the stonewalling that happens. What you all are referring to, and I see this over and over again. Women physicians, once they become very senior, you're going to hit up against a ceiling pretty quickly in terms of salary and schedule if you go under whatever your hospital policies are. So what we like to do next level freedom is make your hospital policies irrelevant, and it's through leveraging competing offers. Let's take a look. Essential disclaimers. Do not do this. If leaving your hospital would break your heart and put you in a depression, like seriously, you do not want to do this. If the idea of leaving would really give you an ulcer and be very, very disruptive to your mental health, do not do this. The only way this works is if you're willing to leave. And I wouldn't do this alone. I think this is really helpful to have someone who's navigated a lot of people through this situation because incorrectly, I've seen examples of this, people on their own trying to figure this out, is you could lose all offers. It could damage relationships. It could make your job worse. If you bring an offer to your chair and you haven't been able to coach them and your chair says, "Well, leave. I'm not meeting this at all. And if you stay, I'm never giving you a raise again," and you can't leave, you just made your current job like forever worse, times a lot. So be very careful with this option, but it is one to consider for sure in this case if you feel stonewalled. So who is this option for? Anyone who's open to leaving for being better, that's a prerequisite. You have to be open to leave. And you're okay also staying for better. Like you're either way, just as long as the job gets better, you're okay. This is the great situation. And if you're open to learning how to coach your boss, it requires really next level, very, very high, sophisticated leader coaching skills. I'm going to teach you this now, but yeah, if this is you, this is a great option to consider. Why would you consider the strategy? Because hospitals have ceilings on how much they can give you, and they're really tied to whatever your boss is making. So if your boss is making $400,000 and you just invented the cure to cancer, obesity, and depression in childhood, diabetes, you're not making $1 more than your boss, no matter what. Like that, there is just these laws in the hospital. No one's getting, there's the very rigid pay structure. And we saw this a lot in the conversations today, yesterday, but he told me I had to work 36 hours, right? It's a very rigid process that the hospital is in. Your boss's hands will be tied at some point. Your hands will be tied at some point if you stay within this structure until you show up with a competing offer. Once you have a competing offer, now there's a path to match it. Now we can just chuck out all the hospital rigid policies, we can reset, and we can build from new. But it really requires you to know how to coach your boss, because if you don't have your boss's goodwill and support through this, your boss for sure can say, well, then just leave. And if the thing you're going to isn't as good, or you're not as excited about it, really can put you in a terrible situation. So we want to be able to coach your boss because these are very delicate conversations to have. And we actually saw this, I think, with Megan yesterday. I think Megan was saying the person she was negotiating with said, no, we can't do that. We've never done that. We have no precedence. And Megan mentioned, I have a few other offers. And all of a sudden she's like, hold on, let me check with my leadership, right? The other offers resets the entire playing field. Okay. So the process is simple, leveraging multiple other offers. First, you want to decide your priorities. And this is unique for every individual person, but in general, it's going to be region of the country, money you want to make, hours you want to work. So to kind of decide what is that thing. Two is then identify 3 dream jobs where you could walk in. This is just the standard. You don't have to argue, fight, negotiate for it. It is this thing already contained. And you'd find it through the job boards, asking your friends, your residency fellowship director, your colleagues at other centers. Those jobs exist. Where are they? Step 3 is reach out to them, especially if there's not a job posting. Reach out, let them know you're interested, interview, get the job offer. Delicately present this to your current boss, and then pick the option that's best for you. Delicately present is where you need to have all your coaching skills. How you present this matters. You want to approach it as this is not a game. People do not, if they feel like they're being pit against each other, they feel like you really don't want to stay, you just want to counter offer to bring back to another place, that they feel like they're being used or manipulated, it can collapse. It can blow up really quickly. So you want to lead this forward with honesty. As we coached Megan yesterday, we're just going to be honest about this. Respect and value for all the relationships. We need relationships to survive in medicine. Relationships are fragile and important. You don't want anyone to be surprised or put on the defensive. You want to, the goal of coaching your boss here is to keep options open so you have lots to choose from. Okay, so this is Pyle's story. She was a workhorse of her group, most in academics, most RVUs, most titles. The fellow she trained was hired at $35,000 off of her salary. She was so devastated, so hurt. She was thinking of leaving medicine altogether, but her family really needed the income. She was the breadwinner. She had a special needs child, lots of doctor's appointments, needed a lot of extra health care and support. Leaving medicine was not an option. And it was also really hard to be supporting a mentee who was making more than her. She didn't want to leave, though. She loved her group. She was really passionate about education and research and teaching. And at the end of the day, she did really respect her chair, and her chair respected her. It was a good fit for her, except for this one piece, which is not a small piece. So I taught her this. This is like the psychology of hospital spending is that hospitals will spend more money attracting new talent than retaining loyal employees. So if you were hired in 2015, you're likely making 2015 money. Whereas if someone comes in 2026, even if they have less experience than you, they are not more special, right? But they just come in the doors of 2026, they could be making $35,000 more. And the longer you stay, the bigger this wage gap gets, unless you know how to coach your chair. What was great for her, and what's great for most for women physicians, I find, is that you're beloved by your group. Your group wants to keep you. It would be a huge problem if you left. So, like her, she was exceptional. Her boss wanted to pay her more, but there was a hospital policy and there was just no way around it. His hands were tied. So, what we did in Excel Freedom is we just made the policy irrelevant. Here's how we did it. The boss said, in quotes, there is nothing I can do unless you come back with a competitive offer. What the boss is saying is go get a competitive offer. That's the closest way he can say it, right? He can't tell you to do it. He'd probably get in trouble with his boss if he was telling faculty, but he was like, there's only one way I can make this happen. Go get this offer for me. And that's what we did. But you have to be very careful because you need your chair support. So how we did that is we had Pyle tell her boss, listen, I don't want to leave. I want to stay, but I cannot make less than my fellow. So I'm going to keep you up every situation. You are not going to be surprised. I'm going to go interview here. Here was my interview. Here I went. We kept the chair very reassured that her priority was that job. He never felt used, surprised, threatened, or manipulated. We positioned the competitive offer not as Pyle trying to leave, but as a tool her boss needed to get her the raise they both wanted her to have. So she got her $75,000 raise. In academics that had a history of not paying people well, right? She got paid closer to her private practice setting, part-time hours, great insurance, a better relationship with her boss. She's not constantly looking for jobs. He's sure she's going to stay because she's maybe private, closer to private practice money in academic setting. She stopped resenting the fellow she trained. All that happened within 90 days. She can afford better special needs care for her child. She's teaching her child how to read on her own because she's home more. She's earning the most money she's ever made. She's home early every night and she loves her job. $75,000 over 20 years is $1.5 million. She invests some of it, not her base salary, just some of that raise, that's $3.4 million. So the ROI on that coaching was 1,373. Couple of hours on Zoom interviewing created $3.4 million. That matters. If you have a family, if you're the breadwinner, if your child has special needs, that is life-changing money. So these are the results you get. You just can't get this with negotiations. It's very easy for that to go south, to go get volatile, to have the chair be like, go to your next job. This is possible because she knew how to coach her boss. So I want to say, for those of you who are like, I hate the idea of negotiating, don't ever negotiate. It's not the way to get things in 2026. You never have to negotiate again. Coaching your boss is so much better. It makes you 2030 money, future money. Before you have a strategy, this job was great 10 years ago, but you're still making 2016 money and it's a worse schedule. You've maxed out what the job can give you in terms of pay, schedule, and opportunities. There's no precedence for more. When you look at your boss, you're like, I can't make more than my boss. My boss is tapped out. The returns are shrinking despite you gaining more experience and contributing at a higher level. The job just feels like it's on the decline. The fellow you trained just got hired with better pay, is going to get promoted ahead of you. You're helping onboard, support, mentor, and train someone with 10 years less experience, and he's making more than you. After you create multiple dream job offers, each one is better than your current one. Just a few strategic conversations, you've secured a 100K raise, part-time hours over a couple of hours on Zoom, just like Pyle, just like Monica, right? Just like Nicole. You're making 2030 money, part-time hours, strong relationships with your boss and colleagues. You share the offers with care with your boss. Your boss is like, let me match them. Here's a retention bonus. Really, your boss appreciates you for how you've handled it. You can gain respect. Your relationships get stronger. You can either move to the better job or stay for a better situation, but either way, everything just got better. And you've raised the standard for yourself and for the other women in your group. All right, so that is what I have for you. That is the process. I'm going to recap. Okay, the six-figure raise, five-figure bonus, four-day work week process. You learned how, if you have questions, put them in the chat or the Q&A. You've learned how to get the yes without jeopardizing your physician contract, which is know who to talk to and then know exactly what to say, the exact words, the script, exactly how you want to say it. 3 is how to guarantee six-figure raise, five-figure bonus, and a four-day work week. As long as you're creative, you expand your scope, you don't give up, you try something new, you ask twice. We found lots of different ways for you to be able to guarantee this. And you can also create pro athlete money. If you ever feel stonewalled, you ever feel like I'm getting the most, they've told us they can't pay me anymore, you always have options. If you're willing to look at other programs, if you're open to leaving, you can leverage competing offers. You must be able to coach your boss, though, to keep them in the loop so they don't feel like they're being manipulated. You definitely need them on your side. All right. Your 100K raise is required. I want you to just leave with that in your mind that this is not optional. It's required because it will elevate your thinking around this. As soon as you think it's optional, your brain will be, then let's not do it. But when you start saying, no, 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 I need this for this, I need this to happen, your brain starts thinking at a higher level, starts expanding the scope. Laura, can you discuss coaching your boss for more help in clinic, a good assistant? So yeah, I think it would be the same thing, Laura. It's the same irresistible step process. You would do that same homework, that same 5-part. 1, what is their need? 2, how are you going to fill it better, faster, bigger than they expect? 3, you position your need under that and have the silence and get it in writing. So it's the same exact process, but you do want to customize it to who you're speaking to. So, for example, we've helped people in similar situations and they brought data. Here's where we are. We're pigeonholed because we're double booking, because we're only able to say these number of patients per day. We can get to this insert data. We can make 100,000 more per month if we're able to see X amount of patients. To do that, we need one more assistant to help move through patients. What can be helpful, what I would suggest you do is talk with Claude AI. And Claude AI is more academic than ChatGPT, and start getting some projections, start pulling some of this. If you don't have the numbers, hopefully you do have the numbers, you could still use Claude AI and start getting numbers, because to get a hiring of a body, and we had examples yesterday, we had 3 physicians hired during a merger. To get someone hired, you need to have data. You need to have numbers, or it makes it easier if you have numbers. So have that data, put the projections together, make it easy. Assume your chair is exhausted and they cannot see left or right. Use the irresistible ask process, bring in those numbers to make it irresistible to say yes. Have that ROI like I showed you all. This coaching program was $2,500. And if you're making 4.5 million at the end of it, the price of the coaching program is a rounding error. It is not even an investment. That kind of thinking, that kind of numbers, you want to be able to show your chair too. I have the numbers. Good for you, Laura. I love that. I stopped double booking when they took away my assistant. Now they're for amazing. Laura, you are in a really good spot. Okay, I love that you have the numbers. You're such a badass. I love that so much. I love that when you realize you didn't have your assistant, you didn't double book yourself because now you created numbers now you have data. So here's how I would do it, Laura, is I would talk to them and say, I'm going to make things up because you're not here on the call. So feel free to adapt for you. But The general thought for anyone who's on this is how I'm thinking about this is how do I position me and my chair on the same side of the table? We are both looking at the same numbers and we are both frustrated. We want to fix this. I have the solution. My chair can say yes. So we want to always position ourselves like that. We're on the same side of the table looking at the same numbers. We both want the same thing. Why I say that is because so often people are going to go like they're going to go head to head. They're going to butt heads with their chair. I want this and she wants that. And that just sets you up for conflict. So I love how you've handled this. You're almost there. You have a very small gap to go. I would meet with the chair and I would say something to the effect of, I I hear the frustrations that my numbers are down. I'm frustrated too. I would love to go back to the days where I was able to make you 130% RVUs. I'm just going to pull numbers from yesterday. I'm willing to do it. I'm capable of doing it. I'm ready to do it, but I do need an admin to do it. Here's the numbers. An admin costs this much, or clinic, whatever the role is, costs this much. Here's the revenue I'll make for you. This is an easy ROI. That's what I would do. And then something else I didn't get a chance to discuss, but I'll bring this, Laura, keep this in mind too, for anyone on the call, is I think where I see people go wrong here is they expect their chair to say yes right away immediately. I think we saw on the call, and Megan was like, she hasn't gotten back to me right now, right? You want to go into a situation expecting this may take a few conversations. It may take a few days or weeks. It's worth it. In the meantime, when your brain wants to stew about, oh my God, and I'm going to make this up as I'm going to draw from my own experience. When your brain wants to stew, I can't believe it. Why am I working 130%? How am I not getting paid? These rules, like that's where my brain would go. None of that is useful. In the meantime, we want to keep our brain, we're getting there. This is happening. It takes time in academics, in private practice too. It takes time to hire a whole new human. It's a big investment on top of the university. Let's give this time to roll out. Meanwhile, I'm not double booking myself, right? Right? If you've positioned yourself so well that you really could cut back, and as long as and your schedule makes like you're not double booked, good for you. We can give them some time to unwind. The data you've created is genius. I think the only thing missing is get on the same side of your chair and coach them through showing the data. What do you think? Mm, Laura. Mm-mm. Laura said, thank you. You're the badass. You're welcome, Laura. I do this all the time. Any other questions from the group? Let me give you a second. Type it in. I'm here for it. This is our last day together. I'm going to miss you guys so much. Of course, if you join the program, I'm going to see you all the time. Our next group call is actually next Thursday, and we have the bonuses are unlocking, and you get immediate access to everything. So for those who join, I'll see you later today. For those who don't, this is our last chance. So let me know if you have any questions. Drop them in anonymously in the Q&A, whatever you want. I'm here for it. Instagram, I'm here for you too. Doc MD, Bay Demore, Kath Fitz, Joanne, I'm here for you too. If you have questions, just drop them in. All right. So I want you to go forward. 100K raise is required. Laura, I want you to be thinking my admin is required, right? Beautiful. All right. So I'm going to wrap up when our financial safety is tied to our physical labor, right? I gave you an example. I hurt my neck. I couldn't work for a few weeks. It was a real eye opener for me. It was like, we work in the hospital and we can never get sick. That this job is very high earner, but we are essentially it's physical labor. We have to be physically in the hospital. We physically create an RVUs to get paid. That actually isn't financial safety. It's a very scary place to be. We have to be making enough money so our physical labor is optional. In case like we're human and we age or get hurt or our spouse is out, we have to be able to take weeks, months, years off of medicine and be able to fund our lifestyle without anything changing. And that happens when we're paid at the top of the pay scale, when we have a six-figure raise, a five-figure bonus, a 4-day work week. We have flexibility in our schedule. We're paid at the top of the scale. All of a sudden, things start making sense, right? And unfortunately, not everyone gets to choose when we leave medicine. So we want that financial buffer so that if we are forced out early or we need to take time out for our loved one, we can stay in our house. Our lifestyle doesn't have to change. We have flexibility that if our spouse, and I only use these examples as I coach so many women on this, where their spouse lost the job, there was a special needs diagnosis, someone had to have surgery. We want to be able to not have to choose between our family and our jobs. We want that financial safety there. Remember that this compounds, the multipliers on these millions are always the money times the years. So you don't want to wait on this. The cost of waiting is, if you look at this, waiting 1 year, let's say you join Next Level Freedom next year, you get your 100K raise next year. The cost of waiting is almost $1 million. Waiting is expensive. So I want you to think, not about $2,500 to join Next Level Freedom. I want you to think, oh my gosh, do I want to leave $11 million on the table? No, I don't. Great. You can join the program. Laura, will you send another email about joining? Yeah, I will. I would say, yeah, you're going to start getting emails about the bonuses. If you have questions, Laura, ask me right now. I'll answer them here. You probably have a lot of other people who have questions. What is your question? Let me know. Let's discuss. I would just say you can also email, respond to any of those. My VA answers, and she kind of keeps normal hours. She keeps very cushion hours. I love my VA. She has got an amazing life and schedule. But if you write in after hours, she may not get back to forward it to me until a couple days later or next week. So I would say, Laura, if you have questions, ask me now. What are you confused about? I want to clear it up for you. I'll go over the offer too while we're here. A million reasons why I want every woman physician to be at part-time hours at full pay right now. You just can't get this time back. Every year, every year, you should be making more money, working fewer hours, being home more. The only skill you need is knowing how to coach your boss. That's how you get that result. You want to always be moving your job forward in this way. So that's what we do inside of Next Level Freedom. That's my lifetime physician group coaching program. We are the only program that's dedicated just to help women physicians. That's all we service, women physicians. Ethically come back to part-time hours, keep your full pay using advanced coaching skills, teaching you how to coach your boss, like I just did for Laura. We're open now. We open once a year. This QR code here will take you to the sales page so you can join right away. Our 72-hour bonus ends tonight, y'all. If you're going to come in, why would you wait till tomorrow when you're going to lose the 72-hour bonus? This is the best time to come in. Next time will be summer 2027. And I will say, if you wait a year, you could be losing $1 million. Okay, Laura's going to send an email. Perfect. I will answer your email, Laura. Respond to any of my emails. Let's see. And if you want to see the website, it's ChristinaArnoldCoaching.com/3DT for 3-day training. That's a sales page to join. Okay, our program, we're talking about joining a movement. People, why is a lifetime physician coaching program $2,500? Nobody else offers it. It's usually like $40,000 to $60,000 to be in a group program for a year. Because I'm trying to lead a movement. I want women physicians to correct this $21 million wage gap over our careers. I want there to be no obstacles. I want every woman physician to be able to afford it. And at $2,500, I believe that's possible. I want every woman physician to have part-time hours at full-time doctor pay. So join the movement. We help. Most common question I get is, but will you help me? I've been around for 6 years. I'm full-time in coaching for the last 3. We support all the people. These are just some of the folks in our group. We have other areas I haven't included. We support a lot of people ask me, but can you help me? I'm at Harvard. Yes, we helped someone from Harvard get a $138,000 raise, even though her boss said she would never get a raise or promoted. She's got both. So our process works, industry, academics, per diem, locums, solo, Kaiser, physician scientist, telemedicine. It is the same process. We just customize it for your group because every stakeholder has different sets of interests and parameters they're looking at, but it's the same process. We support all experience levels, trainees through the chair level. And so how we do that is we have a 5-module curriculum. Module 1 is how to get promoted early and get off-cycle raises. You do not have to work 5 to 10 years. As you saw examples today, we believe in the concept of using mergers and acquisitions, of skip promotions, of being creative and not giving up, and presenting with the irresistible ask process so that you can create your 100K raise before day 1. The interview edge, strategic annual reviews, promotion coalitions, the 5-year career leap strategy through your annual meetings. You deserve better hours now. 100K raise now, not in a decade. Don't wait. Okay, so Rayhan is just one of our shining examples. And some of you have been here all 3 days. I want to say you've heard this, but I think we also have people who are here just for this replay. I want to make sure they hear about Rayhan. She was told that because she was an IMG, she could not command top salary. Because she was a fellow, she didn't have a lot of experience, she would not be able to get a top salary. She should just join any job that would hire her. And in Next Level Freedom, we don't believe in discounts for fellows, IMG, for being a woman. We believe in top pay for every woman physician. So we helped her create 10 dream job offers, including her dream state of California. She turned 9 of them down. She created a job that's over $100,000 more than what the recruiter cited. She just bought a big house in her dream city with a big yard for her and her family. And she said that this was what she was dreaming about when she came to the States. She's so happy and she's so glad she joined because it's definitely nothing compared to what she has right now. $100,000 over 30 years is $3 million. She'll have another raise in 5 years, $2.5 million. She invests a portion of that. That adds up to $18 million. That's an ROI on coaching of over 7,000. Couple of 10-minute conversations with her chair can add up to over $18.6 million. Knowing how to coach your boss is a skill you have to be in medicine. Do not take a $100,000 recruiter discount. It is so expensive. Just go make $18 million instead, right? Okay, module 2 is how to leave work every day at 4 p.m. Make it home before bedtime. Stop working through lunch and unpaid charting. Get full approval for cutting back without touching your income. So this is where we develop the work-life balance scheduling system. Wherever you are, from surgeon to pathologist and everything in between, we show you how to cut back your schedule in a way without even having to talk to your boss, and in a way to make sure you're doing more amazing work than you're doing now, how to get the approval approach, how to purge your schedule of unpaid labor. You have access to it as soon as you start. Ramona took this one module. She was at home 4 p.m. the same day. Years later, she's still home at 4 p.m. Module 3, oh, this is so good. I wish I had this. How to eliminate workplace conflict. I just remember all the conflict I had before I knew how to coach people. It just felt like every faculty meeting was a Pandora's box of torture. Like, right? There's so much conflict. I remember the vice chair like throwing a stapler across the room. It was unhinged. And we teach you a process of how to avoid conflict at work, eliminate it. Because that conflict, if it has you fearful of your job, you can't get your work done. You're constantly thinking about, oh my gosh, can you believe he threw a stapler in the middle of, et cetera, et cetera. Right? It makes it so hard to get your work done when we're distracted by all this conflict. That feels very threatening. So we teach a conflict-free leadership framework, 100% effective boundaries, how to have no more difficult conversations. Is there a difficult person in your group? Of course there is. What if they weren't difficult anymore because you knew how to coach them? Megan, do you have any experience working with people running a DPC? Trying to think if we have someone with a DPC. That's so interesting. I know I have friends at a DPC and I've helped those. I'll say that the DPC is a really interesting model because you'll have more pressure on you than academics or private practice, believe it or not. And because the DPCs generally are like this concierge model of you are going to be talked, being able to set that up, and you have patients with very high expectations, being able to be a part-time hours, making that kind of money is going to be really essential, especially if you're running the DPC. If it's solo practice or you're in charge, you're going to want to find a way to make it sustainable for you. Part-time hours or finding a way to have time for you and your family is going to be essential. So I would say, I don't know if we have a DPC in there, but what you're concerned about is absolutely what we would work towards, which is where can we have these boundaries so that you can serve your patients in a great way, increase the revenue without having to rely on your hours. For Megan, what I would say with you, what I've seen, and we've only known each other for like 7 minutes. So, but here's a wonderful thing with coaching. How we do one thing is how we do a lot. And what I have seen from you is that you are deeply, like the greatest skill of all women physicians, we are deeply connected emotionally. Like we care about ourselves and our group. And that actually makes us exceptional doctors. So because you have multiple options, it's just more evidence that you are an exceptional doctor. You're deeply connected. But I've seen like the concern of offending others to make it hard for you to move this job forward. And that will follow you into the DPC. It sounds like this. Oh, actually, we do. We do have DPCs. I actually helped the DPC. I can't believe I forgot this. Triple her salary while cutting back on her white space. And the problem we're working with her now is she's like, what do I do with all this white space? I have this very micro practice. I'm a very high level concierge, and I have so much time on my hands. Isn't that a great problem to have, Megan? Wouldn't that be a wonderful problem? Because all of this applies there. But what I want to get back to is these things you're working with now. We want to support you on them because they will show up with your patients. And it'll sound like this. I have to work with her. She's going to be disappointed. I have to be available, or she's not going to get what she wants and she's going to leave. If I don't answer this call at midnight right now, even though I'm exhausted, I'm going to lose this patient. So we want to find a way that what if we wanted like de-link your labor to the money you're making? And in a DPC, I think that's exceptionally a high pressure situation. We would love to help you with that. That's right. That's right. Someone says, yeah, that's what I was thinking, Cheatham, is Case's story of how she tripled her salary from working with us and now has her biggest problem is she has too much time. Which is so good. And actually, that's part of why I've kind of re-envisioned Next Level Freedom is that we've had so many women who have said, after they follow this process, and it doesn't take long, is what am I going to do with all this money? What am I going to do with all this time? And it really, you're hear it now, and you may sound like that sounds crazy. Why would that be a problem? But really, when you're a woman physician and you're used to 70-hour weeks and always being available and always having to say yes, it feels like a huge identity shift to all of a sudden have millions in the bank and white space on your calendar, which is a good reason to have coaching because if you don't have a coach to help normalize that for you, what will happen is you'll go back to 70-hour weeks, working all the time. Somehow the money, you'll find a way to spend all the money or you won't invest it right. And our brain's is always seeking safety. It'll go back to that. So what's beautiful about coaching is let's set up your six-figure raise, five-figure bonus 4-day work week, Megan, at now, so that when you do DPC work, it's just an extension of the work you've already done. Does that make sense? Oh my gosh, so good. Okay. Yes, 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 yes. I think also now that I see Cheatham's name, Cheatham had shared like we had a celebration session and she had shared like that these tools helped her with she saw conflict differently now. And that was a theme I saw in all the physician clients that I did a podcast with. So you'll hear it in Happy Medicine if you want to check out those podcasts. Is they're like, I used to really get shut down over conflict. I used to make it mean I was terrible. They'll never see me. They'll never support me. We're never going to make this work. And now with these coaching tools, you can look at conflict differently, not from a place of something's at risk. I'm emotionally like responsible for everyone feeling okay, and more like, oh, these are data points. Oh, now I see where they're coming from. I see what's at stake for them. I can position this ask for everyone to win. And that's how you can eliminate conflict in your workplace forever. And my gosh, if you are paid well, no conflict in part-time hours, that's a good job, right? That's a good job. Okay. Feel free to drop questions in the Q&A or the chat if you have them. I'm just going to keep going. So this is pretty common too. I've had several people and have come to me. I actually had a chair call me once and said, we have a difficult physician woman, which I just hate when people call physician women difficult. And it's just like such a terrible thing to say. But anyways, this chair was calling me. We have a faculty, super difficult. She's got all the CV items. She can't get along with anyone. It's going to take years to help her. How are we going to get her to move through all this? How are we going to get her to be able to be promoted? We can't promote her if she's having fights with everyone. And this particular physician, by the way, I told the chair, absolutely not. It will not take years. She just needs a few tools that she doesn't have. And no, I will not be reporting back to you what we talk about in our coaching session. That's private. She will be my client, not you. And she just blossomed. She just needed, I teach a process of how, like a read the room x-ray, how to tell, how to read the emotional room, how to read between the lines, how to read body language, how to sense the temperature of a room so you know when to move a conversation forward, when to slow it down. And under 90 days, she got a promotion, 20% off service, a raise. If you're having trouble getting along with people, I just want you to consider this is a fact. There's nothing wrong with you. You just have a skills gap. Learning to be a trauma-informed coach so you can coach your boss, you can coach yourself, you can coach your clients, or your colleagues, you can coach your staff. It's going to eliminate conflict for you. This job will become so much easier. Module 4 is the six-figure raise strategy. We go into deep. What we talked about today is how to get the six-figure raise your male colleagues got 5 years ago. Like, let's close that wage gap in one conversation. It's so easy to do. When you can turn your hospital leadership into allies who fight for your advancement, never having to damage relationships. So we go into the irresistible ask process. You'll learn more about that. What to do when your boss always says no, the pro athlete negotiation method. We take all that work deeper and you get access to it right now. The last module is trauma-informed physician coaching skills. No one teaches these skills. Everyone in medicine should have them. You will be able to see your boss in a whole new light. You'll go from being stonewalled by your boss to your boss finally fighting for you, going for your annual review, dreading them all year long, to your boss laying out, okay, here's what we're going to do for you this year because we want to support you in these ways. So we teach the workplace x-ray, the 60-second room read, the repair protocol. These are all just next level advanced coaching tools that turn the boss you're afraid of into the one who fights for you. So good. Really great parenting skills too, I have to say. So many people have said, ooh, I needed that for my toddler. Right? So good. Okay, so Serena took a 12-month paid sabbatical. Kelly took summer and December off. Diana's boss told her she'd never be promoted, and she's created a $130,000 raise plus bonuses plus part-time hours. These are the results you get. Academics, private practice, whatever, DPC, when you know how to coach your patients, yourself, your clients, your colleagues, your staff. The process of part-time hours and six-figure raises, that's in the curriculum, but we also have weekly live group coaching for life. And I think it's the best part. When I surveyed the clients, they said the reason why they joined us over anywhere else is they loved having one coach for everything. They don't have to keep re-explaining or reestablishing themselves. They never have to look for a coach or pay again. You pay once and you have lifetime access. We meet generally the first Thursdays of the month, first 3 Thursdays of the month at 3 p.m. Pacific time. That can adjust a bit depending on my schedule. We have replays, but I want to tell you is you don't need to be at all the calls. I hear a lot from women is, well, I can't make that time. I'm always in clinic and I want to just talk to that part of you. The part of you, it's sort of like the med student part of us who wants to be a good student and be everywhere, all the time, is you should not want to be at all these calls. If you're at all the calls, something is going wrong, right? We've done something wrong for you. You want to come in, get your results, and be able to come and go, spend more time with your family. Of course, we would love you to be there, but to those of you who are like, I can't make them all, that is a good thing. One of the first skills you get is where can I stop being the med student? Where can I just I pick and choose where I go? I show up when I want. I leave when I want, right? You can get your results and your results can be in. We have clients who never come to the calls who get these results. So the curriculum is the process. The calls are a really wonderful bonus. I would love to see you there. And there is no expectation. We do not take attendance. I'm in a few group coaching programs and I get emails. We haven't seen you in 6 months. I was like, yeah, you're not going to see me. I'm not going because the curriculum is, I'm too busy. I don't want to be in the coaching calls all the time. I want to be in my life. I want to be traveling. So it's okay if you can't make them. And I want you to know you are always welcome and you come and go as you please. Sometimes we have people who are like, I only have 10 minutes. Can you see me first? Absolutely. What if it only takes one module in the curriculum to get your results? We've seen that time and time again. Ramona watched a module. She was home by 4 p.m. that day, and she has been ever since. Lifetime means you can come and go as you please. Come and go as you please. It's amazing. Okay. Megan says, what do you say when the boss says you can't be off because someone else has to cover your inbox? I also don't want to come back to a huge inbox either. These aren't usually emergent, but patients don't think so. Megan, I'm going to have some more information. So your boss says you can never be off. You can never have an off day. Can you tell me Give me a little more information so I can customize this for you. And I'll be quite honest, I have worked with people whose boss was like, you can't go on a honeymoon. If you want to get married, it needs to be a Saturday. So I do know those places exist, but I want to make sure. Okay, boss says like I can't take Fridays off specifically. Okay, so you can take time off, but it's just like it sounds like you could take PTO for a vacation, but she doesn't want you taking Fridays off as a standing thing. Let me make sure I've got that right because the coaching is entirely different. Okay. Well, I haven't seen your answer back, but I'm just gonna go ahead and make some things. I'm just gonna talk to what I know. So this is really interesting. And so Megan, if you didn't get a chance, and I don't expect you all to have memorized every sentence, but I'm just saying there are more references on day one. That'll go deeper in this. Let me give you everything here. You never have to look at day one. But for those in the room who are like, what is she talking about? This promotion coalition? Go to day one. You'll hear more. I'm gonna tell Megan so she doesn't have to ever look. Yeah, Laurel, give me your long email here. I would love it. I would love it. Let me finish with Megan. No, seriously, and any of you, my thing about it is your time is precious. Don't waste it. So if I'm here and all I'm doing is asking questions, ask 1,000 questions of me. I don't want you having to waste time because, right, if you send it to my VA is going to sit on it because she's in the East Coast time. She'll come in tomorrow, maybe Monday, right? And now you've your time is too valuable. So tell me here, I am here for you, Laurel, 100%. Let me ask Megan's. Yes. Okay. Megan said it's really about inbox coverage. We we all ask others to cover when we're on PTO, but I'm the only part-time. No one else wants to cover. Okay. So here's what I was going to say, and then I'll circle back to this, Megan. It's not just primary care. This is very universal about, right? We have work that doesn't, and it's not like shift work exactly, right? There are like everything drags a little bit. The labs come in, there's messages. So a couple of things to go about this. Let me see what you say. But this can be a really good, I'm going to make notes because I'm going to forget. Here's the thing about menopause. Memory is shot. So I'm going to make a couple of notes for myself. Now, my handwriting is pretty terrible, so at the end of this, I might not be able to read what I just wrote. But anyways, but let me just give this global for everyone. And Megan, you tell me what you think. But and my situation was very similar too. We always had there was a stain that came in, or there was a question about this, right? So this I think is universal for all physicians. Here's where having a promotion coalition can be really, really helpful. So we talked about that on day one. Promotion coalition is a couple of people who you trust. Doesn't have to be any more than one other person, and we just agree to help each other out. So it would sound like this. Hey, listen, I'm going to be out this Friday. Can you look at my box and I'll cover your box? Make it reciprocal. And sometimes it means you go first. So let me just say there's someone who's going to be you find out your neighbor next door, her kid has febrile diarrhea. She's got to go immediately, and there's no option. Her husband's out of town. She's gonna go immediately. So in that case, what you might do is say, hey, Kelly, I'm gonna cover your inbox. I know you got to go, you go. And then would you be able to do that for me sometime in the future? So even if you see what I'm saying? If you go first, you show her the power of how convenient that is. And while you offer it, you say, would you mind covering for me in the future? Next month, I'm off on a Friday. And we start setting up these exchanges. Sometimes people won't do it because they just don't know that it can benefit them. They're full time, they're there all the time. They don't understand that, oh, wait, this could make my life easier. So it's sort of like we give them a little test freebie and and then they see it and then we can start reciprocating. It is very important. Hear me, Megan, all my friends. Set the reciprocal part up at the beginning. Don't expect them to remember. They absolutely will not. They will forget. So I learned this because I did this for a colleague. I was like, oh, she had to leave. I was like, give me your cases. I'll wrap it up. Everything emergently. Don't worry about it. And when that happened to me next and I needed to go, she's like, oh, I'm so sorry you have to go. It's fine. You can come in on the weekend and make up for it. She totally forgot. So in that case, I learned to make sure it's reciprocal up front. And that's also where I would follow with an email. And I said, hey, Martha, I hope everything went well with your husband. Don't worry about anything at work. It's all great. By the way, just want to let you know on August 15th, I'm going to be out. It's my son's first day at school, so I really appreciate you looking out for me then, right? Doo, 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 doo. That's how we set that up. What do you think, Megan? So that's one way. Is one way is what your brain is doing is it's like there's no precedence for this. Create the precedence. This is where coaching your colleagues can be very powerful. Going first to show them can be really wonderful. People in the hospital are constantly needing favors, right? They're constantly needing this or that, and you can just say, "Let's go." Of course, where you can. Sometimes it'll be a no. Of course, I'm happy to help. And could you help me on August 15th when I have to be out? You start setting that up and building that relationship, and that can be a very strong relationship where you don't even need to talk to your boss. Your boss is saying you can't be out Friday because your boss doesn't want the headache of having to manage all this inbox. Manage it for them with a promotion coalition. That's my suggestion number one. Number two, if you really are at a place where nobody will help nobody, everyone's very hostile. No one will help the part-time person. Your boss is like, you can never leave. And I'm telling you, I've worked with someone whose boss was like, you can't even take a honeymoon. Sorry. Seriously. She worked 3 years, never a day off, on call for Christmas. I've helped some people in really bad situations. If that's you, then I think when you talk about a new job, because that's just crazy town. And that's a very easy, the fastest way to get out of something like that is a new job. We have lots of options. And Megan, we are talking to you about new jobs. So that might be I want to say this, that might be another thing to consider as you set up with your new jobs you're talking to, as you're meeting with people, is to kind of let them know, like, I would bring that into the questions. I think that's a really important question is when I am off service or when I am out, what is the mechanism in place for these messages to be handled? When I'm out, let's say on a Friday, because I'm taking the day off for my kids, who's going to be able to manage the inbox? What is the setup? And if they say there is no setup, everyone just comes in on the weekend. I mean, that's good to know. I probably wouldn't go there. Or if they have a setup, amazing. Or if they're open to there being a setup, the best people to set this up with are physician moms, other women in the group. Other women in the group are badasses in general, especially if they're around your age or younger. So if you're going into a job and there are younger women around, they're usually like here's what I want to say. There's so few mentorship for us in medicine that if you're able to offer that to someone junior to you, that junior person may very well reciprocate they'll have more time than you if you're more senior. It can be a really beautiful thing. You can mentor them and they can support you, and it can be both of you can go further than you could go on your own. And it just feels so good to know it's not all on your shoulders. There was one other thing I wanted to say to you, Megan. Give me 1 second. It's going to come to me. Send me some vibes. Send me some vibes. And by the way, if Laura, if you have to go before I get to you, it'll be on the replay or I'll get the email. But there's just something else. Oh, this is what I want to say. I knew it would come back to me. Megan, if you're going to do DPC, I want you to consider this is your growth invitation to figure this out, right? DPC, you're going to have like, depending on how you set it up. I've seen people really make a mess of how they set it up where they're constantly like on these ear things everywhere they go all the time is constant click, 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 no boundaries. This is it. We want this setup that you're going through. Like, how do I get my work off my plate when I'm not at work? DPC will require you to have this solidified. So let's just go ahead and figure out this now. My guess is the only thing in the way is you're worried about how people are going to respond. Let's just make sure that by coaching them with these ways I'm offering you, you're building relationships. It's going to create better relationships. Okay, okay. Let's see. I'm going to put this. What do you think, Megan? Tell me. I need to know. I actually don't need to know, but tell me if you want to. All right. Okay, I'm going to go into Laurel's email. I'm going to love this. This is not a long email, Laurel. I was very excited. I thought it was going to be super long. Hold me. Let me stop share for a second so I can read this. I love long emails, by the way. Can you guys see me okay? All right. All right. What other questions do you have, everybody? Put them in. I'd rather talk to you than go over all my slides. All right. Laurel says, I think you're amazing. I'm considering joining. Oh, thank you, Laurel. I think you're amazing too. We haven't even met. It's so much fun. That's what I love doing these webinars. Like if I can meet, like it's just such a privilege to meet with you guys. I'm considering joining, but want to be sure I'm in the right spot. I make good money. Of course you do. I love that. And I have a flexible schedule. Amazing. I love that so much more. It's getting tighter with more micromanaging, but I'm navigating it. I work for a children's hospital and I'm the only ortho person. When patients comment, yeah. When patient comments come out in department email lanes with location, everyone knows what comments are about me. All other locations have multiple doctors. Yes. Yeah. So they're not anonymous. I totally get that. Yes. By the way, we have someone who's a solo ortho person, and we really helped her in her job. And yes, she made a lot of money and had flexible schedule, but let me tell you what, her schedule's way more flexible and she's making way more money now. So what if that's possible for you too? Okay. My complaint is I feel so unsupported. You might be unsupported, Laurel. This sounds like you're unsupported. Yes, this sounds very unsupported. So I want to start there. And my coaching there would be like, how are we going to get you more support? In what ways? Part of the support would be working with us because you would be in a room full of women physicians who are like, girl, that's unsupported. Doesn't that feel good when someone tells you, no, 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 you're not thinking you're unsupported. You are literally unsupported. There's a little bit of like a relief when you're like being seen, and then we work on getting you support. And part of it is through the relationships you have in Next Level Freedom, but also part of it is like, where can we find relationships for you in the hospital? And for you, it might be if you're the only orthopedic surgeon there, I mean, there's always the option of hiring, but that takes a long time. It's like the idea being, but there are other people in the hospital. Where can I be building inroads and relationships and protection and support from other people here? No, I totally get it. That's a very similar story to another orthopedic surgeon we're helping. I expect a lot from my assistant, as you should. There's nothing needs to be corrected there. My last one left after 3 years with an HR complaint. You know, an assistant staying with you for 3 years, Laurel, I'm just gonna navigate as I go, so I'll forget. That is a sign you're a really good boss. Assistants do not stay for 3 years unless you're a really good boss. So and also, I want to say, and assistants don't stay forever. Some assistants, I want you to think, because it sounds like in your brain, it sounds like you're getting ready to be mean to yourself. Some assistants in general do not stay forever. They stay for a certain amount of time. I would say on average, an assistant stays 9 months. That you kept her for 3 years means you are a good boss. But some don't stay forever. They have life circumstances, their husband moves, their kid has a grandkid. And so where could we not blame you? We just be like, oh, average stays 9 months. I kept mine for 3 years. Great. And let me go find someone who's even better fit for me. Because the assistant you had for 3 years, you hired 3 years ago, probably you've outgrown. You probably need someone better. And if you just challenge your brain to see how could I use someone better, you'd probably find like 10 different reasons why you need someone new. I have a whole concept that relationships need our job relationships really need to reset every about 4 years. So you're right around that mark with the assistant. Otherwise, the job gets kind of lazy to us. They're kind of like, we're not the new sexy thing. We can kind of get to the back of the line just by sheer volume of being there. So every 4 years, we need to kind of recharge our relationships, including our relationship with our job. All I'm trying to say is your assistant left at the right time. It was not your doing, and we'll just find a better one. All right, she made an HR complaint making the false accusations about me and my behavior. It's terrible. I'm very sorry that happens. Unfortunately, that happens a lot. It happens a lot. I've helped a lot of women through this. It's a very common like psychology when someone's trying to CYA on their way out, or they've done something wrong, or they're having a lot of when assistants having a lot of mental grief around something. It's a very common maneuver to be like projecting things. So I'm sorry to hear that. Others in the clinic supported me, but the division chair and department chair downtown mandated that I attend what I call a How to Be Nice seminar for a full weekend. Then I have something so great for Laura. I have so many ideas for you. Ready? Then they never asked for follow-up or even confirmation that I attended. I love that. I feel invisible. I'm going to tell you why this is so good. I learned some things that mostly just felt tell myself to care less. Oh, Laura, my heart is breaking for you. After she left, they said they won't replace her and staff clinic nurses. Okay, I have so much for you, Laura. Are you ready? Buckle up. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it, but stay with me. Um, okay, let me start with this. When your chair has this HR complaint, even if it's blatant lies, your chair was following an SOP has to send you to an SO a how to be nice seminar. It's like whether it's true or false, it's like this means we have to do this. Your chair is covering her ass or his ass. It doesn't mean you did something wrong. It means they're following a procedure. They're checking a box. I'm saying that because it sounds like there's a lot of like self kind of like beating yourself up here. So I want to just say this is standard operating procedure, even if your assistant was being ridiculous. Two, they never ask for a follow-up means they don't believe your assistant. That's good news, right? If they really believed your assistant and you were a terrible person, they would follow up and they'd say, "Hey, are you nice?" They would evaluate everyone around you. Is she nice? Yeah, they'd be evaluating you like very vigilantly. They'd be putting you on a performance review plan. They would be setting you up with HR and lawyers. How I know is I've helped a lot of people at that end of the spectrum, and they all, by the way, were fine. But that they didn't follow up, I want you to consider is because they don't believe it and they see you as exceptional. I feel invisible. So just kind of sit with that. But I know I'm telling you a lot. Feel free to um, let me know if that impacts any of the ways you're looking at this. I think being in our coaching program would be really, really wonderful for you to feel seen because I think it would be, and if you listen to, you don't have to, but the podcast interviews I've done with my clients on Happy in Medicine, how so many of them were like, it felt so nice to have someone said, yeah, my assistant put a HR plate on me and I had to go to this play nice and nobody checked on me. Like just to see like this is happening across the country and it's total nonsense. I hate that this happened to you. I think you've identified the problem. You need support. You need someone to say, this wasn't you. This was a very shitty situation. You didn't deserve it. What to do next? So I want to like, that's a lot. I want to say this next piece is now I'm starting to see where the concern about asking for an assistant is because your brain has tied this assistant to this review to your performance to your chair. Your brain made that a series of dominoes. So it's sort of, tell me if I'm wrong, because I'm just chat coaching is a little challenging. Tell me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like there's a little part of you who thinks you don't deserve it or that they won't give it to you because of. And I want to say, I want to reference the coaching I gave you earlier. I think you use this all to help yourself. My numbers are down. I'm with you. I'm frustrated with this too. I want to go back up. Help me. Let me have another assistant. I've learned from this conference. Also, I have another great idea for you, Laurel. Give them the funding brochure. On the sales page of Next Level Freedom is a funding brochure. It's very much written in the perspective of a chair about the HR review, about the How to Be Nice seminar, about the importance of leadership energy. I found a coach who works on removing conflict at the workplace, driving up productivity and efficiency. This is the thing I need to get that. Please pay for this. And my assistant. And look, right, we can wrap all of this together. I want you, the last piece I will say from this blurb, there's more, if there's more, write down do you remember I taught earlier, the only thing you need to get what you want is to be creative and don't give up? Bring this to this assistant conversation. You will get your assistant, I promise. I promise, 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 promise. I promise, promise, promise. If you're creative and you don't give up, I can help you be creative. I can help you not give up. I won't ever give up on you. I'll be like, Laura, remember. um, yeah, you're gonna get your assistant back. We just need to get, I think you nailed the head. The first thing you need is support. I think just join Next Level Freedom. We will be your support. What do you think? That was a lot to give you. What do you think? Okay, let's see. After she left, they said they won't replace her and staff, nurses, help patient rooms, that no one other than me is invested in patient population. I answer all the messages. The hospital also got rid of scribes across the board. Charting is arduous. Lastly, I'm 56. I want to take no weekend call, but that doesn't seem to be an option. Anyway, can you help? I want to love the other parts of my job besides the patient. I want to love the other parts of my job. Yeah, so other things to consider. Okay. I mean, it sounds like your hospital is making a lot of terrible decisions. So I just want to check with you. Is this a hospital you want to stay with? because we'll go one or two ways. If you want to stay, then it's like, let's be creative and coach them. Let's bring in coaching to kind of try to change the conversations. If you're just like, no, this is a sinking ship, it's just getting worse, it'll get worse forever, then maybe we consider other hospitals. You said most, um, yeah. And I mean, that might be a thing that helps is bringing in counter offers. If you can get a counter offer, for example, without call that has more support. The orthopedic surgeon we've helped, she wound up going to a different center where she was the only one on call for the whole region. No support. No one understood her. I think they wanted her to do call like to do general surgery call. I mean, it was like a ridiculous setup. And we wound up finding her a position where she's now like one of five and she takes call like a regular person, right? Not every day. And that was a really, her life is just like when we do calls now, she's like from the golf course. So I just want to kind of bring up, I think my, can I help? Absolutely. Absolutely, we can help you. But I think what's happening is like the wounds from not being supported and the trauma related to the system leaving, it feels like it's coloring everything else. It feels like part of your brain is like, we can't ask for more because all of this happened. And I want to encourage you, what we would do is because all of this happened, we need to ask for more. Like I would use this data to get you the support you need. Between us, I think they want to get rid of me. Hmm. Always trust your instincts. So my question for you, Laura, is if you want to, let's see, I have a non-compete. I want to stay in my area. I have three offers, all more money and less call. Um, yeah, Laura, join. Let's continue this. You're gonna get one-on-ones and we'll go there. But if you're still here for people who are like following this, like, oh, what would Christina suggest? If you have offers, you have leverage. Non-competes are interesting. They're very interesting. Of course, you want to honor them. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't tell you, but we've helped a lot of people who negotiated out of their non-competes or who broke their non-competes or who just left and were like, sue me, try to sue me. And all of them wound up being okay. I can't tell you what your hospital will do, but also if they're trying to push, let's just go with the scenario they're trying to push you out. If they're trying to push you out, you may be able to negotiate out of this non-compete. Because you can like, okay, I'll leave, but I need the non-compete so I can leave, for example. We've also helped people who are like, I have a non-compete, so I want to get the timer started soon so the countdown starts working. Let me go see what I can do for whatever, a year, however long this non-compete is. And then we get creative and don't give up there. And some people have wound up traveling, or they've wound up taking a year off, they've wound up living off their savings, living with the grandkids, they've wound up doing locum tenens and making more money traveling the country. So I want you to like, if we're my main thing for you would be like, where can we keep lots of options open? Where can we just see that if you have three offers, you are exceptional at what you do. You're going to be okay no matter what. It's possible what's happening now is to direct you to a better situation. Humans are not supposed to exist without support. Being the only orthopedic surgeon and also not having an admin and also having to do the scribing, this may not be a job you want to fight for. So that's what I would, based on what I've seen here, that's what I would direct you to do. We can coach you to stay and make it better, of course. Like coaching, it sounds like that's not something you brought in, so we can coach, but it doesn't sound like it might be worth it. It sounds like it might be worth to start the time on the non-compete, have conversations to get out of it, and pursue a job that's going to pay you more money with, okay, the job that might support you more. Like start there. All more call and less money. So what I want you to consider there is that's all negotiable too. Especially with your skill set, you are very, very, all women physicians, especially an orthopedic women physician, you have more levers to pull. So I want you to consider that the offer people are giving you is the first offer. It's the first date. It's the first conversation. It's not the final. So imagine bringing in this conversation piece. You're coaching the chair script. I'll help you with it. We can just kind of say, okay, I would love to come. I can definitely be there. I had this non-compete. Let's plan on me starting on this date. But in order to get there, this is this where can we come closer to what my family, like what my cost of living is? Where can we negotiate? What if all of that was negotiable? That's what I have to say for you. Anything else? Oh my gosh, I love that you didn't send an email. So you have that in vocal response. We can definitely help you. Okay, I'm caught up with questions. Does anybody else have questions? Anybody else have questions? Anybody else want to put something in the Q&A? I hope I answered your questions, Laura. We didn't wind up talking about the program, so I'm guessing that was not what your questions. Your questions were more about like how would this help your particular job. So I hope that helped. You let me know if I missed something. All right. So I'm going to keep going. For those of you who this is your first time with me, you haven't been here the whole week, I'm going to let you know more about the program and you can just ask me questions if you want. We have an amazing, Laura is all good. Amazing, Laura. I'm so excited for you, Laura. You're in good shape. Just believe me, you do need support and you're in really good shape. Every human needs support. I think you've been through something really rough and on your own, it sounds like your brain is blaming you. All of this is to get you back on track. You need support. This job is not working as it is. So let's find out how we can make it better, either here or elsewhere. Women physician community. It's only women physicians in our group. You're going to love it. Everyone is going to be like, someone wrote an HR complaint against me. Right? And we're like, and we survived. So it's so healing to hear because when we're all by ourselves, it's very easy to blame ourselves. But women physician community, everything you've been through, we've been through, and you don't have to explain yourself. And you have us for life, for every stage. 360 support. So we start with career, but really people bring everything to the calls. They bring their sleeping, their family, their money to the calls. We help you with everything. You have one place for all of your coaching needs. Private podcast, everything we do is on a private podcast, so you can listen to it at 2.0x as you're driving across town if you want to. You never have to. Those are some recent titles. I can't stop yelling at my kids. Look at that, Laura. I got a bad evaluation, right? We covered this all the time. I probably should do a whole training on how to handle bad evaluations, but I'll tell you how I handle them. That really helps because I think medicine teaches us to treat evaluations as there's something existentially wrong with me if a negative evaluation comes in. When the truth is, if someone's been working with you for 3 years, you are a good boss. And also they decided to leave. And also sometimes people, when they're trying to cover their own, CYA, they do really peculiar things when they feel at risk. So what I like to do is just like quick thing is I kind of sit with it. Is it true? Did I do these things? If it is, I don't beat myself up. I say, okay, next time I get it. I understand myself. I see where that could be true. Next time I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And I make like an SOP for myself, standard operating procedure. And if I think about it, I'm like, this is absolutely not true at all. Then I just release it. And like, that was nonsense. I feel sorry for her that she's hurting so much. She has to lie to HR and I'm going to release it because the truth is nobody cares about these HR complaints. Like we get told as a kid, there's our permanent record as if these HR complaints follow us. They don't, they go, nobody cares about them. So this evaluation has as much weight as you want to give it. You could entirely release it today. Here's what I want you to practice. That was total nonsense. It does not apply to me. She was hurting and made a foolish choice. None of it is a reflection on me. I do really good work. I need support. I'm going to get it. I'm joining Next Level Freedom. Christina's going to help me. Okay, my son won't stop playing video games. I don't know how to start my job search. I can't stop working. If you relate to any of those are just some recent topics. We have a content vault you never have to look at, but we like to support our learners, and a lot of learners like modules. We have one person, she's like, her life is so stressful that she likes to have one voice that's pleasant, that's kind of like teaching her good thoughts through the day. So she will play one module a day, just kind of like as a grounding thing. For her, she loves modules, so she has lots. But if you don't like modules, you never have to look there. Everything is in the curriculum. New this round, we have a live in-person event in the spring. It's come to the Bay Area. It's absolutely gorgeous here. Have you been? It's crazy gorgeous. You get hours of coaching with me, hours of girl time with each other. People have said they've gotten 12 months of transformation, the best day of their life. They left feeling like a different person because being around other with women physicians, it heals your soul. It really does. We all need support. We have 4 p.m. VIP Rewards Club. It's just more results for you. So there's a course on advanced manifestation practices. Advanced manifestation, I know it has a bad rap, but it's very similar to coaching. Where you use your mind to direct your outcomes. This course could be $5,000. It really could be. It's so good. It's through the woman physician lens. It's yours for free. As soon as you hit the program rewards, you get more access to more support. And people have Jessica. She used this course to create a dream job out of the blue. 4-day work week, July off, 75% work from home. So good, right? We have lots of guest coaching experiences and they're available on demand. They are designed to get you to part-time hours at full-time salary. And they're just different perspectives. So just new people to learn from how to start charting at home, real estate, wealth building, sleeping, weight loss, personal style. You think of it, we've got it. Okay, so here are your bonuses. Our bonuses in our 72-hour bonus ends tonight. So don't miss out. The 72-hour bonus is what we call our 100K week of private coaching on Boxer. If you enroll today, tonight, midnight Eastern Standard Time, that is not that many hours. You are going to get this bonus. It's free voice messaging on the Voxer app. It's a free app. So you send a message anytime. Our orthopedic surgeon friends who are up at 5 a.m. can send me a message. It's not going to wake me up because I turn my phone off when I'm sleeping. And then I get back to you and we just have this communication all week long. People have they've made this time like this week, I'm going to make my 100K raise. This week, I'm cutting back to part-time hours. This week, I'm meeting with my chair to get the admin hired. And we use this to help you every day of that week. It's 6 months ahead of time. This is valued at $1,000. We never sell it. It's not available any other time. It ends tonight. Do not wait. If you want it, you should be in the program right now. Last month, Andrea used it in one day of Voxer. She created a $45,000 raise in one day. $45,000 times 15 years is $675,000. If she invests that, it's $1.2 million. So Next Level Freedom costs $2,500. That's a 489X. And that's just this money. It's not her base salary. It's not her spouse's salary. It's not any bonuses. 10 million, like 10-minute conversations, $1.2 million. Okay. And then you get some more bonuses. Our 4 p.m. exit plan. It's a private one-on-one coaching call with me. I don't sell them outside of this bonus. They used to be $1,000 and we go to work just like we're doing here today, figuring out who do we need to talk to? What do we need to say? How do we get to this goal of making sure we're leaving at 4 p.m. We're part-time hours and making more than our doctor's salary. So that's where we customize it to you, your admin, your boss, your family. So you know exactly what to do. And then our last bonus is you get 3 instant access courses. These are all designed to get you out of the hospital fast. So we thought about what are the major roadblocks, perfectionism, procrastination, all of that. Like how can we just dissolve it and eliminate it? The done formula is getting your work done early, impossible goals. How do you create impossible things? Like how do we get an admin when the job says no? All of this is available and it help you get to your goal. All right, so what's included in summary? New 5-module curriculum, we just updated it. Live weekly coaching for life, 15 guest expert sessions, book club, content vault, private podcast, a women physician only community, 360 support. New this round, we've updated the curriculum. We have 4 p.m. VIP Rewards Club, live in-person event. And if you join us today, but don't put it off for later because you'll forget. I don't know about you, but I would forget. Just join now. Make it very easy for yourself. 72-hour. Our bonus ends tonight. It's a 100K week of private coaching. That ends tonight. You won't, if you join tomorrow, you won't get it. You'll also get a 4 p.m. exit plan private one-on-one call with me, 3 bonus courses, and it's a one-time investment of $2,500. And you've seen this investment I'm not even going to say pays for yourself. When you have that 11 million extra dollars, it's a rounding error. This is just a rounding error. It's not even an investment. Or 3 monthly payments of $875. You also can get we have a brochure, funding brochure you can send to your hospital, have them pay. Or if you don't want them to pay, you pay, and let's get you a 100K raise to pay it off. Our doors close. We only open once a year. We're closing on Thursday, August 6th at midnight Eastern Standard Time. So if you don't join now, it'll be next year. The cost of not joining is $1 million. Don't miss out. It's at ChristinaArnoldCoaching.com/3DT, or you can use that QR code. First 30 days, plan on stop working nights and weekends. Listen, we help orthopedic surgeons and we get them to cut back to part-time hours too. It's possible for everyone. How to do this is you'll schedule your 4 p.m. exit plan call. You and me will just go deep on your schedule and we'll figure out what do we need to do. Use your 100K week of private voicemail coaching. Let's sort out, get this executed in real time. You have the curriculum and group call. You won't need them, but they're there. Make your ROI in 10 minutes, just one coaching call. Really only takes, we've shown you like probably 50 examples over the last 3 days where 10 minutes can have a huge payoff for your career. Kelly is home at 4 p.m. every day, times years. Jennifer went part-time hours, full-time pay in 2 weeks at an academic center. Renee took the summer off to travel the world with her family, paid. Selena took off 12 months paid from her institution in academics. Marie got a 100K raise in private practice. Carrie joined on Sunday, watched our process on Monday. On Tuesday, she made a 60K raise. Times 20 years, that's $60,000 returned to $1,200,000. If she invests just this little bit, not her whole salary, not her husband's salary, that's $2,745,718. Her coaching investment ROI was $1,098. Couple of minutes of coaching led to $2.7 million. So good. Don't wait on this. We have 30 ways to get your investment paid. We'll have a whole process. The brochure on our sales page will walk you through it. We can help you make a 6-figure raise. It's what we do. Our floor is 100K. We've helped people make lots more. You saw an example today of someone making $1.2 million on housing contributions from their job. Crazy, right? This process is amazing. And the best part about it is lifetime access. It means you never have to rush, see it all real fast, or overwork. You're never alone again. You're supported forever. If you have questions, we do have a few private sales calls open. This is for us to talk about what are your questions about next level freedom. Let's make sure you have everything you need to make a good decision. Oh, we're done. This is it. There's no coming back live unless you join. And then I will see you live next week when we have our first call of the month on Thursday at 3 p.m. Are there any other questions before I close out? Let's see. Anything else? You guys have seen it all. You've seen the best stuff. Anything else, AL, Cheatham, Dahlia, Elizabeth, Laura, Susan, TB, Tashi, Michelle, and Instagram? Cheatham is like fire. Okay, I guess Cheatham is answered. Amazing. I love you all so much. This was so much fun. I'm really going to miss you all, but I don't have to miss you because many of you have joined the program, so I'll see you inside. Bye, everyone. Reach out if you have any questions. I'll see you next time. Bye.